Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. You're seeing brand new colors, a brand new league, and we're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's crazy to see the fact that a league has had to grow in different ways and avenues, and drivers decided to move along. The Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Arts Productions, is here. A league founded on drivers that have been a part of a history of plenty of great leagues, from the NISCC, from the ISRC Truck Series, to now Trinity Racing League. We come here to try out a brand new car with a brand new league. It's the Xfinity car on Monday night. Crazy to say that. It's been a long time since we ran a different vehicle on the Monday night series. We're excited to give you all the coverage here again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me this evening is Zach Hall, as always, on Monday night. And Zach, it's crazy not to say the ISRC Truck Series. It's now the Trinity Racing League that we're covering here on Monday nights.
I know I'm having a tough time switching my brain over too. So if I mess that up, I'm sorry at some point. But yeah, this is exciting times here, Sam. I am pumped for this league. I think it is great to see the continuation of the community from the ISRC days, even the NIACC days. All that group still sticking together and forming what is now the Trinity Racing League here in the Xfinity car. And in my opinion, this could be one of the most exciting things we have on schedule for you folks week in and week out, because it is going to be fantastic just to see a new car of action on the Freaky Fast. I think it's been a good bit since we've seen the Xfinity car, so it is going to be very, very fun action. And I think starting off here tonight at the World Center of Racing here at Daytona is going to be wide open.
Yeah, we're so excited for it. Larry Art Productions moving and continuing to stick with the Monday night drivers, as again, tonight's series is the Larry Art Productions Trinity Racing League. And tonight's first race, it's the Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine, the Pittie, as well as Blazing Fast TV. Thank you so much to everyone that's been participating to get Trinity Racing League to where it's at today. We had over 43 drivers try to qualify for this race. Some drivers had to even miss out. We're not able to make it through the LCQ that was happening right before we went live. But before we get down to our grid and where drivers set themselves up for tonight, we want to say thank you to the amazing sponsors of the Trinity Racing League. First and foremost, Larry Art Productions for being the title sponsor. We also want to say thank you to the Pole Sitter Award of Blazing Fast TV. The grid sponsor, going to be Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. We even are changing up. No more stage racing. It's now going to be the halfway bonus point. Whoever is the leader at the halfway is going to grab a bonus point, and your halfway bonus point sponsor is SG Gaming. Then we will also have the fastest lap sponsor, sponsored by Hot Lap Designs. We've got ourselves the white flag sponsor, presented by Morecast, and our Lucky Dog sponsor, the Lucky Cod. Thanks so much for Cody Reed for being our Lucky Cod Award winner. But Zach, it's crazy to see a season has been prepared. Drivers have been anticipating this for a while. I know the admins, the owners, they are nervous for tonight. We're nervous as well as we get ourselves prepared for a brand new league. It's the inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. And let's take a look at our starting grid for the first race of the season. Starting grid was set up on how these drivers were qualifying last week. We had qualifying for the front row as well as the duels. Qualifying was quick. It was simple. The driver that grabbed the pole on the Clash 2 weeks ago as well took the pole. It was Cody Reed who found himself being top of the board. As we bring up our grid, it is again our grid sponsor, sponsored by Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. Cody Reed takes that top spot. Then we will be finding ourselves with Danny Cochran, who qualified second. That's how our top two were lined up. Then the next line were drivers that won the duel or came second. As duel number one was won by Richard Thomas, he'll take third on the grid. And coming up second in duel number two, Christopher Norris will take fourth. Then Chris Stitz found himself taking fifth at the duel. We're going to be taking fifth on our grid. Sixth goes to Jared Talmadge. Joshua Kanata is seventh. Eighth is Ryan Bird. Ninth goes to Thomas Green. And finishing out our first top 10 of the season, Isaac Shelley takes that 10th place spot.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 15 of Vincent Sora. Starting in 12th alongside him, it's the 85 of Samuel Garcia. Ryan Kelly going to be starting in 13th with Justin D. Campbell starting alongside him in 14th. Austin Halsey returning back here to League Racing in 15th. 16th is going to be the 67 of Larry Yingling. 17th is going to go to the 99 of Michael Miller. The 6 car, Dustin Smith, going to be in 18th with Nicholas Renner in 19th. And rounding our next page here in 20th is Jesse Newsom.
In page number 3, we found our top 30 in 22nd position. It's the 00 of Ethan Smith, rocking a new number. In 22nd position, it's the 82 of Mason Cassidy. Another driver rocking a new number that runs on Monday nights. In 23rd, it's the 33 of Malik Kuntz. Then we find Noah Steele in 24th. Chris Stitt's going to be testing his hand on Monday nights, starting 25th for the 17. Joshua Stovall, expected to be a fan favorite out there. He'll start in 26th position. For the 1, 27th goes to Ben Keeney, 28th Dakota Moniz, and 29th goes to Nolan Hicks, as well as Ryan Ferraro finishing out our top 30.
And our final page here qualifying is going to be the 31st has got Gary Wells in the 87 machine. The 32nd is going to be the 43 of Travis Downing. 33rd is going to be Mark Labertone. 34th is going to be Tyler Horn. 35th going to be the 24 Ali Fonseca. 36 is going to be Isaac Rimmer. 37th is the 01 of Aaron Kralik. 38th is the 2 car of Stephen Clapp. 39th is the 08 of Jackson Anderson. He has a yellow mark there. He is penalized here, so should be starting from the rear of the field. 40th is going to be the 14 of Jesse Thornick as we round out our pages.
Our top 40 were placed in their positions based off of last week from qualifying based off pure speed to start our front row. And then the rest of the field from 3rd all the way down to 40th was based off your finishing position from either Heat 1 or Heat 2. The final 3 drivers that qualified their way in was from a last chance qualifier that happened before this race. That was between 6 drivers: Cedric Hunter, as well as Cody Smith, Jacob Morris, Colton Jordan, Ethan Delaire, as well as Mark Morales. All had to qualify. Whoever was the fastest 3 of those 6 drivers made it in. And after a very hot and heavy close battle at the end, the 3 drivers that made it in, Colton Jordan, Jacob Morris, and Cody Smith. Missing out by 1/1000th of a second was Cedric Hunter. Ethan Delaire is going to also miss out, and Martin Morales will not be racing here tonight. We're excited to see them next week as we head to Legacy Atlanta for race number 2. But tonight, it is the start of a brand new league, a brand new season, and we've got 43 drivers revved up and ready for action. They had the clash 2 weeks ago. Cody Reed took the pole. Christopher Norris got into victory lane. Last week, we set the front row. We found our dual winners. Now tonight, it's to find out who wants to start the inaugural season on the pedestal of victory. Already, drivers are ready. I hope you are ready out there as well, because it's about to be the start of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions, your Daytona 225, presented by Sunshine and Pittie, and also Blazing Fast TV is underway as Cody Reed, Danny Cochran send 43 drivers roaring down into turn number 1. Here we go, Zach. It's a start of a brand new season.
Start of a brand new season, and look at the pushing and shoving going already on Richard Thomas, giving Cody Reed the shove down the front straightaway into turn 1 and 2, and he's trying to fight off that top side because Danny Cochran getting a great shove from the 30 of Christopher Norris while they're looking for some help on that top side because the rest of them have fell back.
A lot of drivers going to be trying to find their own friends and allies. You send yourself in the back while others, they want to be up front, control this race. You're going to see a lot of 2-wide racing all throughout tonight, as well as a little bit of 3-wide racing maybe later on in this run. But early, it's Cody Reed, Danny Cochran going to be the top 2, as Cody Reed wants to solidify his start to the season with all the poles. But it's Danny Cochran on the outside, the 0-2, going to be the driver who leads the first lap of the Trinity Racing League. Officially, it is underway, and those outside lanes still working well. But Zach, it's seen a lot of space. This is exactly what we want to see to start a season off.
That we do. We want to see some great racing and side-by-side action. Here is what we're going to see from the start of this green flag. And looking at the 2 of Cochran, 0-2, sorry, there wants to jump down, but just can't do it. So the 38 Chris Norris has to back out of it, get off the back bumper, because that almost turned into a big situation right there. And luckily, everybody escapes through it, but we stay 2 by 2 pretty much all the way throughout the field.
We already have a couple of drivers that are struggling to start this race off. Some already have struggles entering into tonight as Dakota Moniz has just lost connection. He's going to be the first driver hoping to get back into the server as he's lost packets and has kicked him out of the server. Cody Reed, we've been notified. He's been dealing with construction work around his house, and it has caused him to have internet issues and a lot of blinking for the 88 machine. He was having major concerns before this race even started. He was worried, but obviously our pole setter currently is up front, but there is that worry of blinking that's going to happen with 88 all throughout this race.
That is definitely a concern you don't want to have pop up here when you're leading the race here at Daytona. That could cause some major issues, but I think Cody will be watching that for the majority of the time as the 0-2 again almost clear of the bottom lane. I think that 38 trying to shove them clear because we know these cars will quickly heat up if you're pushing super hard here. And I think that 38 hoping he can get the 0-2 clear so he can get some clean air on the nose of that car, because quickly if these cars overheat, you could be DNFing very early. So it's not something out of the question, especially when we have 43 cars stacked up on top of each other. There's not much place to go when you do overheat.
There really is, and as you've been seeing on our top right of our screen, I want to give a huge shout out to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., who built this complete graphic system for the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. You've been seeing popping up, that is your Hot Lap Designs, fastest lap popping up. That is one bonus point that drivers are going to be searching for all throughout this season. Whoever has the fastest lap, you know, it doesn't matter where you are on the track. As long as you complete about half of the race and you've got the fastest lap, you find yourself getting an extra bonus point. Zach, that could be a bonus point that a lot of drivers search for if you feel like maybe you're not going to be up front leading a lap at all tonight. That's going to be a fun one to watch throughout this evening.
It really will be, because when it comes to the other tracks, getting that fastest lap, it kind of comes naturally, but here is a place where you can kind of manipulate that a little bit. Set up a run, back up off the field, get way back in this pack, and get a huge run up to it. You could definitely be putting down some pretty stellar times by manipulating yourself when it comes to that draft. So we'll get to see how that all works out. But right now, still 2x2 for the majority of the field. I'm interested to see who's going to be the first to try to make the middle, make that, or making the third group against the wall try to work, because we've seen it. These Xfinity cars, they can very much race 3x3.
And these drivers will begin getting a lot of practice with this machine at this course. This is the third week in a row that the Trinity Racing drivers have been here. Again, 2 weeks ago, they ran the Clash, kind of a for fun race. Whoever won that race, which was Christopher Norris, they actually got one bonus point to start the season off before even qualifying started. And then we had drivers battling for the pole award. Cody Reed got the pole award, so he got himself an extra bonus point before this race even started. So with having 3 weeks of Daytona racing with this Xfinity car, they know this car inside and out. The question is, have they made the right alliances to help them place themselves in the right position to be up front? Currently, Christopher Norris has done a great job. Vincent Soar, who we know can be a major threat here this season, the 15, just staying low and trying to stay out of trouble as much as he can.
Definitely want to stay out of trouble here early. You want to make sure you're at the end of this race. That's really how you're going to score points. No stage break like we've seen from other leagues. This is a place where you only get that bonus point if you're leading at halfway. So you either got to be up front or just trying to survive. So I think a lot of people are going to play this safe early in the going and just try to ride it out and put some laps down on the board, because these super speedways, you can quickly get into a mess if you're trying to make things happen too quickly.
You certainly can. Again, I want to say thank you to the major sponsors that hopped on board for Season 1 of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. Thank you so much to Larry Art Productions himself, major sponsor to the ISRC Truck Series, our previous Monday night series, has now moved on over to help out with Trinity for their inaugural season. If you want to go see great comedy and variety YouTube videos, go check out Larry Art Productions today, known for food reviews, great funny skits. Go check out the wide range of comedy videos and see them today. To get a good laugh, again, check out Larry Art Productions on YouTube. Also, Cody Reed, again, congratulations on being our pole sitter. Our pole sitter sponsor is Blazing Fast TV. If you're looking for chill, relax stream, head on over to Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube to see the POV of Dakota Moniz, as well as all the other fun games that Dakota plays throughout the week. Now he's been playing college football as well as doing iRacing, so see what Dakota's up to each and every night on Blazing Fast TV. Also, thank you to our grid sponsor of Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. Go follow Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios on Instagram to see their one-stop shop for custom full-ink tattoos, stickers, paints, and more. As the drivers continue to stay side by side, Zach, got a couple of drivers in the middle of the field have been making some pretty big moves currently. Not a lot of major movement in our top 15, but outside of our top 20, about on 20th, Mark Labertone, 44, that blue machine on the outside. He is really been the one on the move up currently, 13 positions, and Ali Fonseca right behind him in the 24, up 13 as well. They're both trying to tandem their way forward.
That they are. You also got Jackson Anderson, who started near the rear of the field in 39th, so he's up at 25th. So a few of these guys out here have really been finding ways to make passes, and it hasn't been anything dramatic. You know, sometimes you got to make a dramatic move to go forward, but they've been kind of picking and choosing lanes, bouncing inside, outside, going forward here and there, and just kind of picking them off one by one. So good job here, early start for these guys. And I think you're not seeing a lot of super aggressive moves again because there's no stage points. There's no reason you have to go get right up in the mix right now. Nothing real risky has to play out. And I think even that's why you see here a lot of drivers forming up just like a little back here, inside line here, just kind of hanging on to the tail of this field.
As drivers just hanging out there, it's going to be Nolan Hicks and his 86 Taco Bell machine. Nolan Hicks, I mean, we've seen on Monday nights for the ISRC Truck Series have his moments in those early seasons of the ISRC Truck Series. He was a driver who was a threat for a top 10 each and every night. Currently runs in 36th position with a good gaggle of cars that are deciding to just wait for those later moments. But Zach, if we continue to stay this patient, this kind of giving each other as much space as possible, no one's really forcing the issue to go 3 wide up front. How much does this kind of add to the nerves of the drivers further on back on maybe once we get closer to those pit stops on being in the right position to stay with those lead path?
It can get very nervous, especially because it really comes down to the timing of pitting. You know, if you come down the pit road here, you hit pit road with a huge group of people, it can get very dangerous, and that's where you start to see slower and slower entries. You'll see some of those groups that are a little smaller maybe get a quicker entry, but guess what? They're also smaller numbers on the XL group. So there's pros and cons when it comes to being farther back like this. Now, though, as long as you can hang on to this group, you will have kind of the more time to decide if you want to come to pit road too. So that does give them a little bit, I guess, would say some good hopes there. But it when you're farther back, you just got to make sure you really hit your marks on pit road, because one mistake and you'll quickly be lost for the pack. Where consider someone like a Christopher Norris or someone maybe makes a small mistake on the entry to pit road or into their box, they still maybe will be able to latch on just because of how much track position they have coming to pit road. So definitely if you're farther back, you got to make sure you get on and off cleanly and stay with that pack, because as soon as you lose the numbers and you lose the pack, give it 10, 15 laps, you'll be a lap down here in Daytona.
Major numbers to watch out. Also other numbers to watch out. Team numbers. How many drivers are with you? Do you have your teams and alliances around you? As we keep looking around, one driver that's by himself coming in as a solo driver under the Next Level Motorsports name, Nicholas Renner in the 21 machine. He was a driver that I wasn't sure what we were going to see from Nicholas Renner, mainly because, again, he's coming by himself. We've seen Nicholas on Tuesday night when we were covering the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series on the fact of he was trying to run with people but would kind of get himself in trouble. Then we watched Nicholas on Wednesday nights in a car be fast but also get caught up in wrecks early. Now coming in, brand new league, a lot of these drivers he's seen before, but also a new patch of drivers to race with. I'm curious on what the 21 speed is going to be like once we go to the more traditional oval tracks after we get done here at Daytona.
And that will be an interesting thing, because again, this Xfinity car is so different than anything else we've seen run here on Freaky Fast. You know, we've come in from Monday nights on the Truck Series, where I would say the truck is a much closer version to the next gen Cup car, just the way the aero works, the momentum style racing those cars produce. Where here, I think you're going to see a little bit of different, maybe cream rise to the top. You know, it's not going to be our traditional people who always have dominated those trucks that are going to be great in these Xfinity cars. It's really going to come who has experience in these things, and then I think you'll see others who maybe start off bad. They might start to learn things and really adapt to these cars. So this is going to be, I think, quite the start of the season, and early in the season, I think it's going to be the most important time. If you can get your momentum rolling quickly and here early, you can rack up some points while people are still learning this game.
Starting to see a little bit of more movement up front. Still Christopher Norris trying to beat Pied Piper of one of the lanes. He'll take the inside currently with Danny Cochran, and those two drivers continue to be up front. Same with Jared Talmadge, as they're now going to be seeing the 49 of Ryan Bird. And Ryan Bird, like we said, brand new car, kind of gives a new refreshing moment for drivers on the learning aspect. I know for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we haven't covered the Xfinity car for 2 years. The last time we covered it, it was yourself, Zach, out there on track on our Tuesday night series with a full send racing series back then. You were running for a championship. Christopher Norris was running for a championship. And 2 years in difference since then. There's been a lot of changes to this vehicle, and with a lot of these guys being used to the trucks, the next gen, it's now given drivers that used to be threats with brand new cars in the past, now being able to emerge up front, such as a Ryan Bird, getting to see an Isaac Shelley up there, and newcomers trying to throw their hat into the mix of being a threat up front.
I think it's going to be really fun to see who's really got it and who's not at the beginning. You know, it's going to be quite the show, so to say. You know, someone like a Ryan Bird, I think he could quickly show what his whole full worth is, because Bird, I mean, I've raced with him for so many years now. The guy is very talented. If it clicks with him, watch out for that 49 machine. He definitely will be a threat week in and week out. And the same for Isaac Shelley, who runs right behind him. I think he's another guy who could benefit from a car change here too. So seeing these top 2 or 3 really kind of switch the lead back and forth. There's been Danny Cochran jumping out to the outside, Christopher Norris going kind of back and forth between those two, swapping those lead positions.
As drivers going all around trying to find their footing. We have an update on Dakota Moniz. He has finally been able to get back into the server. So unfortunate on having technical issues on his end. The 5 currently 14 laps down. He'll have to back out. Speaking about backing out, Cody Reed ducking it low off the exit of turn 2, and the 88 goes from being inside of our top 10 to now hoping for a slot to get back into the mix. And it looks like he might have to run the apron. This 88 could be in major trouble of losing out of being with this lead pack. And Zach, that is a nightmare for the driver who grabbed our pole to start this evening off.
That is such a heartbreak for him, man. You know, he's one of the favorites, you know, here for this league when it comes to the play tracks, I feel like. So right now, definitely going to be at a loss when it comes to this. But I think right now, if he can hang on, if anything, maybe find another car out there to drive with that's out there on the track by themselves, or at least catch a caution. He's definitely going to need some luck at this point, because Reed, about 12 seconds already behind that lead.
Yeah, already behind the lead, and he's dealing with some pretty major rear end damage. He's trying his best to continue racing on, but he's now going to be majorly off the pace, already about 5 seconds just by himself compared to the lead pack. So we'll see how this 88 can get back into the mix later on. As I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching with us. Impressive 44 people watching with us. Thank you so much for joining into the race. Hey, if you're able to chat out there, who are you rooting for? Which driver or team are you hoping to see in the victory lane, or just rooting for this season, for the inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions? Christopher Norris has been quick. Jared Talmadge, Danny Cochran, they continue to be the drivers up front. Mark Leverton, oh no, trouble. Driver going and spinning low. That's going to be Mason Cassidy. Close to that inside wall. He will hit the inside wall for the 82. And no caution is thrown. That is off the racing line on the apron. We continue to stay green, but it's Mason Cassidy with the big error for the 82 machine.
That is tough to see there for Cassidy. And he's going to be trying to get back up to speed. It's already Reed's already went past him too. So those two won't be able to link up. And also the front damage, the rear damage on the 82 might be an issue, but we're going to see exactly what happened to him. I think he was trying to squeeze down from the 84 there.
Yeah, looked like it. They both were they were in line. But the 84 was giving bumps. It was trying to force Cassidy higher and higher. A bizarre moment to see when you're seeing drivers in the middle of the field getting these bumps, but here's going to be Cassidy. Tries to drop low right in front of the 84. Not going to be a fan of that move. And the 84 gets wrapped up again, and it's just Cassidy forcing the issue, and the 84 frustrated with the moves all around.
Cassidy definitely forced the issue, and the 84 finishing the issue, I guess you could say. So that was, I think, some frustrations leading out there for sure, and just showing you want to try to close a hole in somebody. You got to make sure you're clear, because you can upset them, and that can quickly make your race possibly over quickly. And Cassidy now going to be reeling here, trying to stay on the lead lap, but already 34 seconds behind the leaders.
Also saw pop up Chris Stitt's going to be taking on our fastest lap presented by Hot Lap Designs. Go check out Hot Lap Designs for quality visual graphic design needed for iRacing schemes, logo design, merchandise art, and more. Go head on over as, oh boy, drivers going all over the place, and it's Danny Cochran off pace down low, and oh no, Zach, what is going on with this O2 machine?
Yeah, this was weird. Sorry to interrupt you there, Sam, but that was just so off-putting. It was almost like the motor blew up, but he didn't blow up. Yeah, that very weird scenario. He was just pushing Jarrett and just kind of had to pull out. I don't know if that was a technical issue maybe for him.
Oh, he's coming over the radio. It sounded like his headset cable somehow got entangled with his wheel, and so he had to get off the track to untangle it. It's one of those technical issues. You want to make sure your cable management is set up before this race, and Danny Cochran struggling there, and that is going to be a costly mistake of having wiring issues that hurt the O2.
Oh no, that is a terrible situation for him, because now he's going to be also losing the pack also. So from that situation, that is just a weird moment to have happen for someone, and that is tough to see from someone who has been up front, one of the dual races, and was really a huge factor going into this race. So we'll see how it plays out now. Will they be able to get back in the mix? Same for him, Cody Reed, and Mason Cassidy, who've all been kind of outlined from little issues here to start.
Just bounced around, and we're starting to see those drivers kind of fading away that once were so strong. I mean, I know engines blowing up was a concern tonight. A lot of that talking point was happening during the duels, and entering this evening, the field was concerned. What was the tires going to be like going into a long run if you're being very aggressive? And then also, how aggressive are we willing to push one another in the early going to get into engine trouble immediately? And I thought that was a similar situation for Cody Reed, Danny Cochran, where it looked initially like that engine issue, but obviously for Danny it wasn't. We still have no report on what happened to Cody Reed to force him to go low.
It's very, very, very interesting to see that all play out here early in this race. But you see right there, Mason Cassidy up in front of these guys blinking a little bit. Oh, in the 38, Christopher Norris, Jared Thomas, big wreck.
Drivers heading down into the grass, and our first caution is out, and it just continues to implode as more and more drivers back off the pace. But the grass utilized for some. Ryan Bird, though, stuck on the inside wall, finally able to get moved, and our first yellow of the season happening on lap 24.
Ooh, this one's gonna be interesting when we look back at it, Sam. I just looking at it when we go back here and see it. The 38 and the 27 is where it all definitely started, right at the front of the field. But man, oh man, I think the 38 might have kind of lost it.
Yeah. We're going to see here off the exit turn 2. Ryan Berg getting around the back bumper. But it's going to be the 38 of Christopher Norris. He's going to be getting a huge run off the exit of the corner, trying to give a bump to the 27. And this is where it all goes wrong. We hit the back stretch. 27 tries to defend the move and then tries the Dover deke, and it just forces the 38 into the wall, and away goes the field. There goes Stitz. Also going to be Joshua Kanata. Mark Labertone going for a quick blitz through the grass. And it's Ryan Bird trying to gas it up. Don't hit the wall. And that Orchid Ink Tattoo Studio able to at least stay off the wall. So that's the biggest important thing for that 49. His race is not over just yet.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge benefit. And here, it was very weird. I mean, I don't know if we could get I see we're right on board here with Isaac, so I don't know if we can hop on with Christopher Norris, because I feel like he was looking to make the move to the outside of the 27 and fake it to go back to the middle of him. I think he just lost it. Like, it seemed like the rear end just stepped out on him as he cranked it back left. And that can sometimes happen in these cars, just the way they are kind of set up to turn left. You can kind of crank it that way and fall on the nose. And you can see there from the look from Shelly, it definitely was hard to see everything that was going on. But that was just a weird and awkward moment there that I think it caught out a few drivers right there at the front of the field.
As Shelly's going to just get his way through the grass. Seeing a couple of other drivers getting through the madness as field is going into pit road and getting service done currently. We'll take another look at the replay here shortly once pit road stops are done, but Zach, I mean, 24 laps in, we were playing nice for a quick second, but now it's going to be our first caution of the day, going to be thrown out. We were just given information from race control from Nick Crawford, who's going to be our race control for the season for these drivers. Going to miss you out there on track, Nick, but thank you so much for what you're doing out there watching over these drivers. 42 laps of fuel we were given. Caution on lap 24. Pitted here on lap 26. I'm curious on what fuel runs are going to look like, but here's going to be a look for Christopher Norris. We'll take a closer look at this, but Zach, let's do a rundown of what you see here by this 38 as he's leading the charge currently heading into turn 1.
Yeah, going to make this move here, and you're going to see, like you said, leading the charge. Bottom lane's going to have the momentum here down into 1. So you're going to see this 27. He's going to surge past this 38 and going to make a pretty clean move to defend this. This isn't nothing egregious. You know, it was just slide up in front of him. I think the 38 goes to make the move. You see, I think he just misjudged the closing rate. I think he was going to go for the middle. I think he was really trying to shoot for that middle groove and just kind of misjudged over into the back of the 27. And from there, it just kind of caused a disaster. So Christopher Norris going for an aggressive move, unfortunately didn't play out for him.
As drivers are getting prepared, we get ready up front. Want to head on over to Chris Stitz, Larry Yingling, and others up front. Main reason why? First time going to be used this season. It's the choose rule. Choose high, low. Where do you want to go? You have to make a decision. That black seam, that is your middle lane. You got to make sure you're fully on one side or the other. And here we go. Choose rule is underway.
I love this. Yeah, the choose rule is very, very cool. Definitely have to have a race control to be able to control this and, you know, not let any other black flag slip through the cracks, so to say. But this is so cool to see. I really hope at some point iRacing will add this feature here where, you know, the admins won't have to do so much work to make sure to make this is right. But so cool to be able to choose the lane you want to restart in, and it's going to be something I think the more and more as we get through the season, especially at certain tracks, we're going to talk about that choose cones so much more. I mean, it can be crucial here to line up not only with your teammates, but I think at some other tracks it's going to be the definite interesting decision of who wants to start on the bottom versus the outside.
Yeah, finding your teammates going to be an important thing. That's already what we're seeing with drivers on the outside of trying to get lined up quickly, as it looks to be Talmadge as well as Vincent Sora immediately wanted to get lined up with one another. As lap 27, seeing the drivers already excited on how this season has been. I know we got people out there rooting for their favorite drivers. Larry Yingling looking to try to continue his pressure forward as he'll be the driver on the outside. But we have Larry Arts Production saying, let's go, Danny, Ollie, and Cody. We also have Morecast out there saying, what the 82 doing? We have no idea. That was a bizarre moment that happened under Green Flag Racing. We also have got Cameron rooting for that boy in brown, Stovall, and Larry going to be Lenny Reed saying Cody was blinking so bad. Yeah, Cody having internet issues. I think that's going to be a tough thing for the 88. Try to march his way through this field with the internet connections. It'll be tough. As the field is set, we're side by side, and we're about to go back to Green Flag Racing for the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions. Season 1, Race 1. First caution is done and dusted, but it's the Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine and Pittie and Blazing Fast TV. We're back underway as it's Justin Sipes, Larry Yingling leading the charge as we head down into turn number 1.
Excellent start from the bottom lane. There's Sipes and Richard Thomas able to pull out here, but it's going to be quickly reimbursed. Here's the 27 of Jared Talmadge giving a good push. Same for Vincent Sora to the 67 of Larry Yingling. Is Yingling maybe looking to get his first laps led here at Daytona to start off the Trinity Racing League. But the question is going to be, will that 27 and 15 leave out on him? Now the 27 of Jared Talmadge and Vincent Sora, not teammates in this league. They are teammates on Wednesday night, so we could see that connection still continue.
Yeah, some of the teammates that we have entering this evening, Vincent Sora grouping up with Copper Steel Racing. That's Danny Cochran, Thomas Green, Vincent Sora, and Jacob Morris. Jared Talmadge bounced out, putting Jacob Morris in. Interesting to see some of these teams and the way that they've have found themselves placing each other. As this lap completes, it's Justin Sipes leading that lap for the 80 machine.
Sipes getting the nose ahead there at the stripe, but it's going to be the 67 leading the way down into 1 by the nose of a hair of a nose. Is C. Thomas giving a great push over there to really extend the gap between them and the 85 of Garcia, who should be able to shove up to him and give them a great shove. So right now, the bottom looking strong, but the top side is definitely starting to fight back. As you see farther back in the field, a few others is, I think the 27 of Talmadge almost losing it there off the nose of the 15 of Mitsasora. That was a great save by Talmadge not to just destroy Garcia right there.
And the big difference between the trucks, the Xfinity and the next gen car, the trucks and the next gen, you can bump each other pretty aggressively at times and you'll be all right. These Xfinity cars are so unstable even by themselves, let alone having a car bump them. I think we're already seeing that. It's not even the driver that's getting bumped. It's the driver behind that looks to be taking the brunt of the inertia once they make contact.
You're exactly right, Sam. A lot of these guys come from that truck series and from that, a Cup series too. So you, like you said, I mean, you literally in those cars lay in the back bumper, never lift. You go into the corner and you pretty much just hope to stay straight. As you see Thomas Green coming up the middle there in the big freaky fast machine. He's just opening up that middle lane for the first time tonight. But it's definitely a complete difference here. As you see in the corners, you really got to lay off the bumper of someone. You can't be connected to them all the time. And if you are pushing them, you have to be straight. You cannot be off to the side.
That driver stuck on the outside and left all on his lonesome. That looks to be, I believe that's the 77 that's kind of losing his time. It is. That's going to be Isaac Reimer, who's going to be on the outside, lone driver in that third lane. Might be getting a little bit of help as that 77 is getting very close to the outside wall, does graze it for a quick moment, and will go back quickly as that middle groove. Starting to see all the drivers just trying to putter their way forward as quickly as they can. They can give space to the 77 to get in line. Zach, 3 wide, we know it's going to be utilized. I know during the duels it was utilized quite a bit as Reimer once again grazing the wall and just yanking on the wheel to get off the wall. Finally finds an opening, but will they give space? Thordick says, no, I don't want to lose this time. And the 14 continues to keep that 77 on the outside groove. And that's the question of how patient are you willing to be? I mean, we're on lap 32, started lap 32 of 100. Drivers are still fighting for that middle of the race at the end of lap 50. Whoever leads that lap gets 1 extra bonus point. I'm shocked to see these drivers already saying, you know what, let's go 3 wide and get up front. Maybe that bonus point is that important for these drivers.
It's looking to be that way. I think everybody just looking the race at this moment as we're going back 3 wide. You see Christopher Norris involved in the incident. He's going to be in that third car on the outside lane, but it's led by the 00 Ethan Smith. He jumped down in front of Thomas Green, but one thing I've noticed, whoever goes to the top, they get so close to the wall that they're kind of flirting with disaster. So you see the big difference here at Daytona and Talladega. Talladega very wide, 4 wide can be easily done. Here at Daytona, 3 wide actually takes some skill.
As drivers trying to pick and choose where to go. Hesitation could be the weapon that destroys this all. As if a driver hesitates going low, going high, and oh no, it's the runner! Gonna be clipping up into the outside. There goes Thomas Green and others scattering around, and a huge scatter for the 3 as more pile in. The big one strikes here on lap 33 at Daytona.
That it did, and Nicholas Renner there just, I don't know, just went into the corner. It just seems like he got loose. I mean, these cars definitely handle a little different when it comes to these tracks. As you see Thomas Green, I mean, just destroy. That might be night over with that left front and that right front damage that he is seeing in that suspension. So Green trying to make big moves, got caught up right in the mix of all that. Is it really just all stemmed from that 21, just a pretty big mistake right in the middle of the field when everybody's stacked up.
Yeah, it's going to be the 21 and Nicholas Renner currently in 6th place. You're going to see it here in that blimp view right on entry of turn 1. Just go straight down. I mean, just right into Richard Thomas, then bounces up and away they go spinning. Going to be Christopher Norris. He gets pile drove in. Morris tries to get through, same to his others. And that second group, it looked more like they were trying to muscle their way through the carnage instead of trying to slow down, and more drivers getting extra damage. They're late.
Definitely a few piling in there a little bit. As Ali Fonseca getting it locked up to stay off the 3. Good job by him there, as others did some great jobs of missing that incident instead of making it way worse than it could have been. But yeah, I just really think that going into the corner there, the 21 just losing the rear end on turning. It just seemed like a very loose rear end, and shot him down. Tried to self-correct to not take out Richard Thomas, and it shot him up the track, and unfortunately he's going to clip Ethan Smith when that all happens. So definitely wild scenes, and it's going to be interesting to see what do these drivers do with pit road here, because a lot of times at Daytona, you just kind of come down to make sure you always have the most fuel packed in this car. But it looks like our top two, other than the rest of the field, are going to have that mindset of packing the car full of fuel, while these two now are going to be sitting there questioning, why did I do that? And they're going to be definitely hoping that they don't see a full fuel run, because if so, they'll have to be pitting by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the timing of our previous caution on lap 24, those drivers were going to make it to the end of the race on a one stop. But this, at the time of this caution, allows drivers pack it full of fuel, get some tires underneath you if you like getting tires, and you are for sure good for a one stop. And as well, if we go into overtime, you're not forced to go into pit road at that point. So I think for a lot of those drivers and group, they know if we stay green, you're set up for going to the end, as well as if we've got overtime.
That's for sure. This definitely adds a little bit of that insurance in the back pocket. Also, just gives you a little bit more strategy options too. Possibly you can take a little less fuel, make the stop a little quicker. It's always something you can do at these plate tracks to gain time when it comes to green flag stops. We'll have to see if we can get to that green flag stop, of course, but definitely always good to have that in your back pocket when it comes to these plate tracks. It's definitely a place you can make up some track position. We've seen tonight with drivers making some big moves.
We got some more fans out there in track. Julia excited to see the 37, Richard Thomas, our victor of Duel 1 last week, trying to go for the dual win as well as the race win a week later. Also got ourselves, that's going to be Cedric Hunter out there in chat saying these guys look loose. Rip. Yeah, loose extremely. I think one tire wear looks a little bit hectic, as well as just being in this aerodynamics, being in that middle driver, being on the outside. The only safe place might be the inside groove close to that yellow line, as we are getting prepared for the choose here on where you want to go. High, low, everyone gets to make their own decision here.
That they do. Decisions are going to be very important here when it comes to who you want to be working with. So we'll see how this works out. Another noted thing, our pole setter Cody Reed, he's back up to third without all the strategy played out. So it looks like Talmadge is going to take the bottom. You're going to see Larry Yingling take the top. The next two, Cody Reed and Richard Thomas, is going to go low. So opening up the door for someone to go up to the top. And it looks like Vincent Sora, who's going to come from fifth up to the top behind Larry Yingling.
Justin Campbell, he was right on that seam. He never really made a decision. Also going to be Justin Smith. Those two drivers got to be careful. There's a few. We've got a race control Nick Crawford out there. Yeah, very late. Well, the thing is, you had the black seam. Drivers were notified. You must you must have your car completely on one side or the other when crossing the start-finish line. And we saw there a couple of drivers. They were right on the middle of the line, making that late decision. We'll wait and see if race control wants to ding those drivers or if it will be a post-race decision. But heading into next week, as next week gonna be Legacy Atlanta. The week after that gonna be Homestead, and then Iowa are gonna be certainly proving driver skills immediately with going to Legacy Atlanta, Homestead, Iowa. This is a fun start to the season we're gonna be having here for the Trinity Racing League.
It is definitely gonna be a fun start, Sam. I'm excited just to see how this is all gonna shape up, man. Just a brand new league, a lot of familiar faces, a bunch of new faces also mixed in with that, with a new vehicle that we haven't had a lot of experience with, especially recently. This is it's gonna be exciting times here to see really who's got what when we get to Legacy Atlanta. I mean, that track, such a tough and old school racing track that I think we'll have a very clear picture of who can handle these race cars when we come out of there.
Three drivers deciding not to pit. Jared Talmadge, Larry Yingling, Cody Reed. They're going to be your top three as we're about to go green. Vincent Sora and co. all throughout the rest of this group. Deciding to just top off on fuel. A handful deciding to take tires. Majority getting damage repaired as pace car pulls off. The Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine, the Pittie, and Blazing Fast TV, is underway once again, and it's the 27 of the 88 with the great launch as we roar down into turn number one. And these drivers, there are some bonus points on the line. Pole sitter award was already gifted to Cody Reed. lead a lap, you get 1 bonus point. You lead the most laps, get an extra bonus point. If you are leading at the halfway of this race, at the end of lap 50, you as well will get a bonus point. Fastest lap gets a bonus point. 0x, that's going to be a tough one to grab. That's going to be 1 bonus point in winning, of course, the ultimate prize for everyone to start the inaugural season for the Trinity Racing League. I mean, this is the race that matters for a lot of drivers, Zach. This is the one that everyone will go back and say, I won the first race of this league.
That's for sure. This is always a talking point, so to say, when it comes to who wins those inaugural races. I can even think back to ISRC, all the build up for that with Danny Cochran taking home the original race there. It's always cool to see those first time wins in the first race of the league. So we'll get to see who can take their name and christen it the first one to win here, but it's definitely going to be something I think we keep on the memory banks of this league's history.
Jared Thomas, Larry England still going to stay side by side for now. Seeing a couple of new names trying to get their hat into this mixture. Jackson Anderson, Colton Jordan inside of the top 10 for going to be the third 83 and the 08. Those are 2 names that we haven't really talked about at all here, for at least for myself, Zach. And I'm excited for some of these new name drivers that we're going to be seeing throughout this season. We've got Stephen Clapp, Jackson Anderson, Andrew Oki, as well as Ethan Delaire. Ethan not able to qualify for this race, but we're excited to see what that 22 will have later on. Stephen Downing, Isaac Reimer, Colton Jordan, who was one of the last drivers to qualify into this race in the LCQ before this session popped up, and Gary Wells. Those are some of the new names for me at least. I'm excited to see that aren't in our traditional Monday and Wednesday night groups.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited, especially when we start getting to about week 4 or 5, and we learn, what the expectations for each one of those drivers should be. It'll definitely be interesting to see who are the ones to watch out for when it comes to possibly a championship fight, race-winning fights, or just overall being a character in this league. So you never know who those ones will be, and we'll definitely have to tune in alongside us, folks. And we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight so far, getting to watch this excellent action so far. As we get closer and closer, Sam, it'll be 10 to go for that bonus point that they're giving out.
As we are seeing blinking driver, that is the 88 of Cody Reed. Internet issues are starting to pop up for him. He was already notified the league before this race. Hey, I was having internet issues. There's construction going on around my house. I might start blinking at some point. Luckily, it stopped, but it was pretty heavy there on the front stretch. Gotta hope that stays clear. If you talk about characters and drivers showing off, 81, Jesse Newsom on the inside, 4th car on the inside. That 81 machine certainly had an adventure of starting off with character for this season of the Trinity Racing League. Last week in the duels, he was racing while on the highway. He wasn't the one driving, but he was on the highway racing on his computer and qualified his way into this race. Probably one of the funnest things to watch. He was blinking like crazy last week, but 81 here tonight, obviously on a more solid setup and showing out right now in the early going. As like Zach said, we are 10 laps away from giving the bonus point for our halfway winner. Our halfway winner going to be the halfway bonus point, sponsored by SG Gaming, or SG Racing, excuse me.
Right now, it's still been Larry Yingling and Jared Thomas who stayed out under that latest yellow that have kept the track position up front, and it's been interesting to watch. The 15 of it's been on the push, the 67 well, the 88 able to keep Jared Thomas just that little bit farther out to keep this lead. And as it gets closer, it's going to be interesting to see how big of a push is it going to be for that 1 bonus point. Yes, it is only 1 bonus point, but when drivers hear bonus, they something that lights up in their ears and their eyes, and they just turn everything else off and they go for that bonus point, even though it's only 1. It is always funny to see how some people take it, but I think you're going to see some big moves being made even here at lap 50.
And like we said about the Trinity Racing League, this is the third, for some drivers, their third league that they've had on a Monday night. It was originally the NISCC Truck Series that they ran, it then got rebranded to the ISRC Truck Series, and now brand new car, brand new name, the Trinity Racing League that's ran here on Monday nights. But some of those drivers, I think back to past ISRC truck races, those past seasons where they were doing round-based playoff racing. I know a lot of those drivers, they know 1 point could be the matter. A lot of drivers were tied during some of those playoff runs. Some tied at the end of the regular season, even make the playoffs. They all know every point matters. And I think that's why a lot of these drivers get that antsy feeling of, I need to be up there. As we take a look at one of our fan favorites out there during the ISRC Truck Series final season that we had for Season 8 is Joshua Stovall in the one machine, the Brown Crew, currently rolling back in 29th position, just watching the fun in front of him. I think one of the smarter moves to make is he's got Michael Miller behind him, and these drivers, the 199 and the 2 is Stephen Clapp, going to be the wide open throttle racing team to be watching out. That's the 1, 2, and 99. They're going to be out there on track.
Definitely these guys just all hanging out, like you said, kind of riding for the moment, but they know nothing too majorly to be gained from going up here and dominating this race so far. I just got to worry about later when it gets 3 wide. There's really nowhere else to go. Once the lanes get clogged up, things kind of stop happening. So you got to have some little bit of track position. So I'm interested to see if these guys will start to climb their way farther up as we get closer and closer to those final stops of the race. But it's going to be an interesting point for sure, is right now Larry Yealing leading the way out in the 67 machine.
Trying to lead his way. A couple of more drivers having some blinking issues, as seeing a little bit of swapping back and forth. Jared Talmadge wants to be the driver on the outside. Dropping low is Justin Campbell, and a couple of drivers that I saw racing aggressively around the duels as, oh boy, big shimmy and tap, as it's going to be the teammates in line. The 81, 83, going to be a quick breeze for the both of them, as they've got Richard Thomas in front, and drivers jostling, but luckily keep it together. And Zach, I mean, the anticipation, they know we're coming down to those final few laps before that 1 bonus point for being the first driver to get the halfway bonus point. They're starting to ramp up, and I'm not surprised with some of the names we're now seeing up here in this top group. Vincent Soar, Jared Talmadge, Nicholas Renner, Larry Yingling, Justin Sipes, Cody Reed, Chris Stitz, Richard Thomas, also going to be Jackson Anderson, Newsom. These are drivers that are notoriously known for wanting to be aggressive at every super speedway we go to.
Oh, that is for sure right here. This is going to get wild. Vince Sword dropping down low to the bottom side now, leading the outsides, the 21 of Nicholas Renner, who had that mistake earlier, but he's still right in the mix after that bit. And now look at this Vince Sword. He says, I'm going to take no time to waste. I'm going to jump up in front of the 21. It's going to be issues here. After he gets the shove from him, I think you'll see him jump back low, but here comes a run through the middle. That's Jackson Anderson.
One of the newcomers for us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the 08 Anderson, was given a penalty to start tonight's race as he made an unsafe move during his duel where he went under the double yellow line, came up and wrecked the field. Because of that unsafe entry, he had to start the race off here tonight with an end of the line penalty. The first one before the first race even started, and this 08 wants to make a statement. And looking at the stats of this 08 machine, he's going to be probably one of the newcomers that's going to be the first initial threat to watch out. He's got quick pace everywhere we're going to be going, and I'm excited to see how well he can push his way forward as he's got Nicholas Renner right in front of him. Aggression is here, but the 17, that's going to be Chris Stitz, bouncing on that third lane, heading backwards. Same for the 80 machine of Justin Sipes. I think we're starting to see some drivers recognize we want to get out of this madness because we got a feeling it's going to get really messy really quick. While others say, you know what, let's risk it all for the 1 bonus point.
Definitely looks like everybody willing to risk it right now as you see the big side draft from the 21, but the 24 Fonseca up into the wall. There's Christopher Norris, little contact from him, and farther back they're going to start to wreck, and we're going to be under yellow.
Caution, the 17 spun around and goes up into the outside wall. Rest of the field able to scatter the way forward as blinking drivers all around. And that will be a caution. And this is the awkward spot, Zach, is we're not at halfway. The choose is going to be right on that midway point. Who gets the bonus point? Is it the driver that's leading now, or is that the driver that leads at the timing of that midway point?
That's the big question, because if they come to pit road here, technically it'd be after that sequence. So this will be a decision that the admins are gonna have to make, and I think this will help them for later in the season of that midway bonus point. So we'll get more clarification on that. But yeah, that was wild. Yeah,
I was harping with the admins beforehand. I was bugging them. I'm like, make sure everything in the rule book is solid. And they're like, I think we got everything. I think it was the one thing where you had kind of an oversight of this wasn't put in the rule book of if there's a caution at this point, you get that bonus point. So now it's going to be the question for drivers that have already pitted under our last caution. I mean, technically, we're still not good to make it to the end just yet. You could stay out. Make sure you get that bonus point. And it looks like for some drivers, that might be the case. Stay out. Get to that lap 50, 51 marker. Get the bonus point, and then race it from there. As Vincent Sora, currently your leader at time of yellow. He is our leader, hoping to get our halfway bonus point. Going to be sponsored by SG Racing. Looking for fun, relatable sim racing content? Head on over to SG Racing. He has you covered. Check out SG Racing on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. And if you're curious on who SG Racing is, that is our very own Samuel Garcia out there on track in the 85, as he's had some great moments showing off his highs and lows on both in the ISRC Truck Series on our previous Monday Night League, as well as Wednesday night in the WSSR. And most likely we're going to see one of his highlight TikTok videos here this evening after tonight's race is over, as drivers head into pit road. It is time to see who will cross the line, as Vincent Sora is going to lead everyone into pit road.
Yeah, that's going to be the question is, do you do something here to try to lead at lap 50 on pit road? Do you make it a quicker stop? I mean, definitely I think something that might run through everybody's mind, but I'm not surprised to see everybody come down. This number of laps that they ran was just way too many to not be willing to go in here and put fuel in, just because yes, you don't make it to the end of this race still without a stop, but you can make a much quicker stop at the end of this race with how much fuel you'd have to take.
As drivers exit out of pit road, staying out. It's going to be the 33 Malik Kuntz, as other drivers trying to get themselves in line. I take that back. Malik will be heading back into pit road, as Vincent Sora leads the group of drivers out of the box. It's going to be Vincent Sora, Richard Thomas, Nicholas Renner, Jesse Newsome, Colton Jordan, as well as Larry Yingling, Justin Campbell, Jarrett Talmadge, Isaac Remmer, and Jackson Anderson. Your top 10 as they exit out of pit road. Drivers trying to get their lead back as quickly as they can. Driver who's going to be earning our Lucky Cod Award for the Lucky Dog. We named it now the Lucky Cod. Cody Reed wanted to be known as the sponsor of this moment. So congratulations to Dakota Moniz, who will be our Lucky Cod, as he's waiting to get the wave around and get another lap back. He's currently 12. He was at one point almost 15 laps down, so at least chipping away ever so slightly. And with Thomas Green with major terminal damage, that 5 was able to move up at least one spot.
It's awesome to see there for him, for sure. Is now past, well, will be coming past the halfway point right here, but this is going to get down to the interesting part of this race now, Sam. Like I said, they can't make it fully on fuel, but I do think what a lot of the reason they came down is you're going to see a lot of 2-tire stops with less than 10 gallons put in these race cars, because they don't. If you make a pit stop here and you put 2 tires on and you take a full tank of fuel, you'll have to sit there for at least 12 to 13 seconds still for them to put all of the 18.7 gallons they can put in these cars. So when they come to these stops, I think you're going to see a lot of them put underneath that 10 mark, because these cans carry about 9.8 gallons per can. So you definitely want to see only one can go in that car, so it'll be much quicker stops, and that's how you can gain 4, 5, 6 seconds of time on pit road over your competition. So I think if we do see this go green, those pit stops are going to mean everything, and the team that calculates that fuel mileage is going to be really winning out the best.
And our very first halfway bonus point winner, it is the halfway home, going to be given to Vincent Sora. Congratulations to the 15 machine for being our first halfway bonus winners. Again, sponsored by SG Gaming. Go check out Samuel Garcia's incredible racing on track on his point of view on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. Just look up SG_racing and check out the great content that he has already posted so far. Well, Zach, first half is done. Brand new league. We're seeing a lot. Again, we know the majority of these drivers from all the different leagues that we've covered throughout the couple of years. We've been doing this here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Anything that's kind of sticking out to you here in the first half that you feel like might change heading into the second half of this race?
I think you will start to see the aggression level of making it 3 wide kind of go up. So it's going to be interesting. I do think you'll also see a lot of these drivers trying to stay up front here and keep track position, because again, when it gets 3 wide here, it's like rush hour traffic. You don't have many places to bob and weave and go, so you kind of just at the mercy of your line. So if anything, some drivers farther back might be making some big moves early here just to try to get ahead of that frantic train that might happen later.
Well, the field's set 2x2. Pace car is off. First half is done. Second half is ready. Who's ready for victory lane? Let's find out. It's the Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine, the Pittie and Blazing Fast TV is back underway.
Great start from that bottom lane, and what a shove from the 21 of Renner, but it's Larry Yingling who's attached to the 37 of Richard Thompson, but he's going to jump off on both of them off that back bumper of each other very smartly once they get into the corner, but it's starting to separate out a little bit here. There's going to be a big run coming from a third car back on the outside line.
Drivers ramping up, and it's Justin Campbell who's just bobbing and weaving high, low, anywhere that 66 can go. And he currently is trying to give a big run and a push to that outside groove. Vincent Sora going to have Nicholas Runner ahead of him, and then it's the teammates that are going to be in line. That's the 81 of Jesse Newsom. Also going to be Colton Jordan in the 83, their third teammate. That is the Blue Pill Punisher. Is going to be Mason Cassidy in the 82, who's caught up in an earlier wreck, trying to catch up to those drivers as the 21 trying to get some air on that front end. But here's where we find that 82 machine of Mason Cassidy, who's not out of the race, but running with a lot of the other drivers that have been having issues this evening in those first couple of incidences.
Got to stay out of trouble here, and luckily for a few, they've done a good job of doing that. Is very few drivers off the lead lap. Still 41 out here drivers competing. Only Thomas Green out of this race, and Dakota Manise 12 laps down. He's still been trying to come back from those connection issues, but 41 drivers still at the shot, and we're past that halfway point. That is crazy to say, Sam.
It is very crazy to say, as we have been seeing these drivers get aggressive at times, calming down into others, and I think everyone kind of recognizing out there on track, it's a race to that final pit stop before you can final charge to victory lane and see who's going to win this thing. And with us kind of being in a little bit of a looming waiting station, it's perfect time to step away for a quick moment. It's been great racing action for the first inaugural race of the Trinity Racing League presented by Lariat Productions, Season 1, Race 1, Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine, the Pittie, and Blazing Fast TV. Has been a good one so far. We can't wait to be back for more Daytona action. We'll be back right after this, and cannot wait for it. See y'all after this one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry R Productions. I want to say thank you to the major sponsors of the Trinity Racing League: Blazing Fast TV, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios, SG_Racing, Hot Lap Designs. I also want to say thank you to Morecast and the Lucky Cod. As well as we want to say thank you to our own sponsors up here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting, your camera providers for Freaking Fast Broadcasting through all the different leagues that we cover. Whiplash Sim Cams. As we look through the field, a lot of big movers up and down. Currently, one of our biggest movers up in 6th place. That's going to be the 83 of Colton Jordan. He's going to be finding himself as our Whiplash Sim Cam's biggest mover of the day. Currently, that could still change once we get to these final laps, as now we're less than 40 laps to go. And Zach, we got a couple of big movers up here in the top 10. We got, Jackson Anderson, Colton Jordan, a lot of the newcomers, new names that are starting to show out up front.
That they are definitely a new little bit of names showing up here to the top. I mean, Colton Jordan qualified in through the last chance qualifiers, so that was amazing to see for him. I mean, you had Jackson Anderson who had the penalty, so drivers doing an amazing job. And I believe also Newsom and Jordan should be on a team together here. So those two 1-2 right now, working very well together. While
trouble up front though. Big wiggle between the teammates, Newsom as well as Jordan, and all drivers spinning behind in the background. It's going to be the 24 of Ali Fonseca with a big slide as drivers are trying to slow down. It looks like no other extra contact. Oh, wow. It all started up front, just accordioning away all the way to the back.
And how fast it did it. It was mind-blowing to see how fast a little checkup like that can trickle all the way back to someone right there on the edge of the top 30. So Fonseca, unfortunately, getting caught up in something once again here in this 24 machine.
As up front, the teammates just made a small bad bump that kind of shifted everyone, backed up their pace off the exit of the corner of exit number 4. But Ali Fonseca, we'll see here in the 24, currently deep in the field, giving space, trying to avoid any carnage. He's running around the one machine. Running around some of these other machines that are just taking their own time. Cody Smith in front, Christopher Norris behind him, and just checks up dramatically. I mean, for Ali, reacting a little bit too quick for some, it seems, as some drivers get bounced around to the outside.
And for a moment there, I mean, with the way iRacing works, his hood was off, so I was like, oh no, race over for him, but everything comes back together and he's all good. So good to see that for the 24 Fonseca, who can stay in the race still.
And seeing some of the drivers that were almost involved in that race, the 23 of Jacob Morris having a moment for himself. Also seeing drivers of Jacob Morris, Christopher Norris, near Ali Fonseca, Ryan Ferraro, just trying to scave their way through all of that madness. Drivers headed to pit road, and Zach, with the fact that this is less than 40 laps to go, this could potentially be the final pit stop of the night, as Vincent Sora overshoots his box by a mile.
Yeah, that wasn't just a little bit. Normally it's just a few feet to inches, same for Isaac Shelley there. But, I mean, he went completely a few boxes through, and you can see how much he loses out. I mean, he hadn't any left now, and he's already lost about at least 9-10 positions. So huge loss for Vincent Sora, but big gain for Colton Jordan and Jesse Newsom, who come out 1-2 on the field.
Some of those drivers, we were kind of talking about it over the commercial break. The amount of drivers that have changed their numbers starting to fool us. And some of the schemes, some of the numbers are even hard to see on their cars at times. So we might talk to the drivers after this and be like, hey, can you change your number just to be a little bit more definitive for us to see? But Zach, I mean, seeing a lot of drivers changing their numbers, I mean, one of them that's kind of shocking. I was like, who is this number? Not looking at my live timing, but just seeing them on track. Number 30, Ryan Kelly. I know he added a 0 to it, but seeing number 30 is just bizarre for the machine that we're so used to seeing being the number 3 on Wednesday nights.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That is going to mess me up. Now seeing him in the 30, yeah, normally see that man in 3. Yeah, so
yeah, it's a completely different color too.
Yeah,
it's so different from what we're used to.
And he blinked out
as he blinks away. Oh man, seeing these drivers. I mean, we're used to also behind them in the 85, Samuel Garcia. He's usually would be in the 50 machine or the 51. He's been in the 85. A few others, Austin Halsey in the 84. We've seen him as the 99 and plenty of other numbers. He's the 84 that we saw get a little bit aggressive with some of the bumps earlier on, as he wasn't a fan of the 82 earlier. And these drivers get ready for the choose rule as they go choose high-low where they want to go. It's going to be Colton Jordan deciding to go low for himself as the field gets ready. Teammates stay aligned, and Larry Yingling once again goes high to make sure that he is the lead driver. They'll have Jackson Anderson following him in suit as the rest of the field trying to figure out, do I want to go high, low? Which lane will give me the most positions than just staying where I'm at right now?
That's for sure. Yeah, it's quickly getting closer and closer to that point where we're like, all right, this is where everybody's going to start to let the full thing loose. But we'll get to see now how these drivers want to attack this race course, because it is getting down to that nitty gritty part of the race where you're gonna have to defend. You're gonna have to start trying to keep yourself up here in the mix, and if you're farther back, you're gonna have to start trying to push yourself forward. So I think time quickly starting to run out for them, and we may see a few little bit more mistakes creep up with that patience level just slowly starting to trickle away.
All around, these drivers are searching for their teammates. Ying Yang Racing got a couple of drivers up there in the top 10. That's Larry Yingling going to be on that front row on the outside. The 30 machine of Ryan Kelly and the 17 of Chris Stitz. For Chris Stitz, though, a little bit concerned. He's been blinking quite aggressively here over the last 10 to 15 laps, getting concerned for himself as this race goes on. Other drivers that are up front, I already talked about the blue pill punishers. That's Jesse Newsom, the 81, 82, Mason Cassidy, and Colton Jordan, who leads this race on the inside of the 83. They're hoping to get moving forward quickly. I think a couple of teams and drivers, though, big one to watch out for is going to be seeing Team Watson. That's Ethan Smith, Jesse Thornock, and Sam Garcia. Watch out for the way that they're going to be trying to push forward on this race. As pace car about to pull off, it's about to be go time, as we will have 35 laps to go here tonight. If somehow we can avoid any more wrecks, we can go clean and green to the end. They've got the fuel, they've got the tires, and the Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine the Pittie and Blazing Fast TV is back underway with Colton Jordan immediately moving to the outside in front of that 67 Larry Yingling, and Yingling doesn't want to follow. He ducks even higher up onto that outside wall to keep it side by side for the lead.
Yeah, very interesting decision there with the 83 to kind of jump out on that restart. Normally you want to have that restart with the driver behind you kind of restarting with you, especially them being his teammate. He goes up to block the outside line. Larry Yingling says, no, I don't want none of that, of y'all controlling both lanes. I'm going to go around you. And from that decision, the 83 drops back down. But now that 08 here going to push the 67 far enough out where Larry Yingling going to take control of this race lead.
Drops to the inside, hoping to lead this lap is that 67. Jackson Anderson started out this race with a penalty. Had to start at the end of the line as he now rips the top. Gonna be the outside quarter panel of Larry Yingling. Larry leads that lap, but Anderson having a chance to fight for this lead position. The question is, will he be able to lead this lap? Because Jared Talmadge right behind him in that 27. We know he's going to be quick, trying to push his way forward. Richard Thomas and the 37 as well, having plenty of speed. This outside row is ripping and rolling currently, and that is a fast 4 drivers to have in line.
That it is. Thomas has been a good pusher, so has Talmadge been all night. So that outside line should work, but we got those 2 teammates behind Yingling doing a great job to keep him right in the mix as they head into 3 and 4. And actually, the 67 going to pull here as the 83 of Jordan giving a great shove through the corner. Definitely got to be careful, though, this early still to be giving those big shoves. And
Colton Jordan and that 80, it could be the 83. I was looking up some of these drivers. Again, I didn't really know them. We're going to really learn throughout this season. But looking in their past from Sim Racer Hub, where we get a lot of our data and information of how the season's going from stats and also points, Jordan, wide variety of ranges of vehicles this 83 is willing to drive. Even tonight, he was doing a dirt league before getting ready to even try to qualify his way into this Daytona 250. He has a wide variety of full racing, dirt racing. He doesn't have a win yet in his career in any of the leagues that he's ran. It's 83. Currently hoping to maybe make some noise here for a season where he doesn't have a lot of experience in the Xfinity car, but when you have a wide variety of running a bunch of different dirt cars, running the Cup car, the trucks, and the Xfinity. That experience can help you learn more quickly than maybe some drivers that are just testing the Xfinity car for the first time.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Sam. Yeah, this is impressive stuff there from the 83 to be right in the mix, but gotta watch out there, washing up off that bottom. Definitely kind of sliding up on the X in the center corner there to make sure to give them enough room. So can quickly, be right in the mix here, right up in the front, thinking you're doing the right thing, but then the next thing you know, you're causing a little bit of havoc.
We've been talking about the same, about 4 or 5 drivers that have been inside of our top 10 for most of the evening. Like we said, just showing up is the 30 of Ryan Kelly, but outside of our top 10, drivers of note to watch out for: Gary Wells, another newcomer for, at least for myself, the 87 inside of the top 15. Also going to be seeing Jesse Thornock now getting into the mix for the 14. He's bobbing and weaving on the outside groove in that shimmering chrome and black machine. Also, Justin Sipesky back in the mix, but it's the 66 of Justin Campbell. That's the driver I have circled. Watch out. Whenever this 66 thinks it's time to go, he's going to make some of the most daring moves, going high-low anywhere he can go. Also starting to see the emergence of the 77 of Ryan Martin. We saw him get a little bit into the outside wall throughout the beginning half of this race. He's now gotten to the inside groove, so starting to see some names and faces. And Austin Halsey in the 84, also inside of our top 15.
Definitely a few breaking through right now, like you said, and could be right in the mix. At one point, we've seen Isaac Reimer there, who was right behind Halsey. Him in that third group going backwards. He's now got his way back into the top 16. So Danny Cochran there, after his fiasco having his headset cord wrapped around his wheel, he's back up in the 17th, and definitely right up in the mix still here, waiting to see if they can claw their way back into it. And the question is going to be, who is going to be the first one to make that big aggressive move here to try to go for it? I really don't know who's going to do it, but right now, everybody kind of waiting in the 2x2 line.
As we've got ourselves 22 drivers in the lead pack, we've then got a group of 2 that are racing with one another. That's going to be Aaron Krolick and Cody Smith. As Cody Smith, one of the drivers that was able to qualify his way in, as caution flag is thrown, and it's for the group behind. Trouble for the 1 of Joshua Stovall, who goes around back there in 35th position in the grass. And that was the 3rd pack that I was just about to talk about. And it was a huge checkup of everyone heading into turn number 3 that just ricocheted all the way through that group.
And this is the group that was just kind of riding, just trying to last here behind this front group, maybe that they'd wreck. And this is the worst case scenario when you're riding in the back of the pack here, just trying to put down laps, and you end up getting involved in something where you think you should be safe. And we're seeing the back end of this, but it's all going to start right about where that 24, the 5, the 51. You see, look, it trickled down each car backwards. And from there, the 4th, 5th car just can't get wound up in time. And next thing you know, they're spinning.
Yeah, I mean, just showing the accordion effect. It's just like having, rush hour traffic. It just gets worse and worse as everyone just stacks up on top of one another, as Stovall's going to be dealing with that slight damage and try to head into pit road and see where that damage and how bad it is. You see that rear end a little bit jacked up, front end not as comfortable as you'd hope, but no one with required damage. That's the big positive you can take away from that moment. But obviously, I think all these drivers trying to check their RPMs and make sure they're at full power.
Yeah, that's one thing you definitely want to have, is make sure you have that full horsepower behind you, because you will notice that more than anything here at some of these tracks. Sometimes you can have a destroyed race car, and if you have the power and you can get in the draft and stay in the draft, you'll be fine. It's just really those situations of do you have the power still in that race car to get up in the mix. So we'll see how that works out. But right now, Jackson Anderson leading the way, Larry Yingling in second while we pace, and looks like a good majority of the second half of the field going to come down here and get service done on the race cars.
And as we were under pacing, one driver will get a required damage flag. It's a black flag with an orange circle that we like to call a meatball flag. And going to be Chris Stitt, who's going to be forced back into pit road to check out how bad that damage is. See there ripping the top. That's going to be our lucky cod award winner once again, Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine. I feel like, this might be our time to bring him up. Why not throw out a commentator curse here, as we're about to be a quarter of the way left in this race. We made choices of drivers who we thought were decisions to, watch out drivers right before we went live. I feel so bad for Dakota. I picked him as my driver to watch out for here tonight, notoriously known for having terrible luck. And I thought, new series, new league. I know it's the same night. Maybe he'll have changed the luck. I think it just doubled down and got worse. I'm so sorry, Dakota. You were my pick to watch out for. Zach, though, it looks like your driver still in the mix.
Yeah, Justin T. Campbell here in the 66. I think he's going to be right here in the mix still to come down. The season changes to the one. Yeah, I was questioning that. I picked the one, but I was going to stick with the 66 because he's still in this. Because unfortunately for Stovall, I think his car is messed up. But Robert's going to change that way. But yeah, I did pick Stovall before this is all, and now I feel like I commentated cursed him too.
And you know what? Brian Bird was also in that. Yeah. So Robert, our producer, we've cursed everyone. Our power is still undefeated on who we pick is most likely going to get taken out. We're so sorry to those three drivers. Again, we made those picks before the race even started, before we even went live on the broadcast. We did not know that it was going to be that terrible for some of these drivers. Still, you can try to recover it if you're Bird or if you're Stovall, but they've been in pit road for so long. Stovall goes one lap down. I think Bird's about to go a lap down. Oh, he's able to stay on the lead lap as the field gets their chooses underway. We're about to go back to green flag racing. It's going to be Jackson Anderson, and most of the field deciding to stay out on after this yellow. Going to be our top 24 that stay out. Christopher Norris, Gary Wells, as well as Justin Campbell, all going to get tires, fuel, ready to get back out there on track. But Anderson, Yingling, also going to be Colton Jordan, Jarrett Talmadge, Richard Thomas, Jesse Newsom, Vincent Sora, Ryan Kelly, Samuel Garcia, and Chris Stitz. Going to be your top 10 currently. So when we go green, it's going to be 25 laps to go. Zach, I think this is the point where we're getting the most nervous, because this is when the race is going to be the most entertaining, or it's going to be the biggest headache for everyone moving forward.
Yeah, that's for sure, Sam. We have a chance to put on some great racing right here to come down to do this thing with how these cars race. But it just takes one small slip up from drivers, and next thing you know, it will be a big one. So they really got to be careful here, but they want to win this thing. Everybody up front here has some reason to go win this race early, or a race early in this season, just to start off with such a good way to start your season when it comes to a new league. Also put your name in the history books. I think you're going to see a lot of desperate big moves here, and we could very well see the yellow flag come up a few times.
As we're about to go back to green flag racing, Chris Stitz still stays in pit road. Chris Stitz is back out on track with 2 laps down, and Stovall is currently 1 lap down. We also want to say thank you to Justin Byram for being our newest subscriber to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We have 52 people out there watching with us, and if you're brand new to the broadcast team and watching us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, welcome to the show. It's a brand new league here on Monday nights, the Trinity Racing League. This has already been fun. We've seen these drivers in multiple different leagues. This is going to be a blast of a season that you don't want to miss. And if you don't want to miss any of the great racing action, remember to hit that subscribe button as we are back to green flag racing for the Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine, the PD, and Blazing Fast TV. It's Jackson Anderson, Larry Yingling going to be the front 2 leaders of both lanes. But that second row is where all the power is going to be set up. Watch out for Talmadge in that 27 on the outside, as well as seeing Colton Jordan in the 83, proving the speed that got him qualified into this race earlier today is well worth it. He's still up front.
That's for sure, giving good shoves there to that 67 of Yingling to get him out front. And outside is quickly fighting back. Jarrett Talmadge, Richard Thompson, Vincent Sora, those 3 names definitely all been great pushers here tonight who've been in that top 5, top 10 for majority. But it's going to be, can Larry Yingling get the help from the 2 teammates from behind? But this time by, Anderson will lead the way as the outside line just looks to prevail.
And this is going to be one of the first times here tonight that we're going to see a true difference on drivers that took tires and those that didn't. It's about a 9-lap difference on tires that we're going to be seeing for this field. The first driver who got tires is going to be the 66 of Justin Campbell. Fresh rubber, going to be looking for space. He might be making some of the bigger moves. Also, you're seeing one of the first drivers trying to get up to the outside. Well, that's Christopher Norris, finding no friends or allies, but he's seen a lot of drivers checking up, which is enabling the 38 to just take a couple of these positions on the entry of the corner, as you're seeing the 3-wide action here just outside of the top 20.
Definitely some big moves already starting to be made here a little bit farther back. these drivers know they need to use the time they have wisely, because the next thing they know right now, it's coming to 20 to go soon. It'll be 10 to go. If you're back here in 20th or 30th, yeah, you can win from this far back, but you're going to have to hope for some miracles.
Searching high, searching low. Starting to see a couple of other drivers really haven't talked about. The 43, Travis Downing, excuse me, going to be trying his best to move forward with Gary Wells. These drivers currently 24th, 25th, but just cruising back with Cody Reed, or full sitter. They're trying to find the opening to go forward, but ahead of them, it's Christopher Norris once again. Huge surge, and drivers are starting to block that run from the 38. Well, this top 20, the way we're starting to move around and kind of block entry runs for drivers, we might see a wreck here very shortly, with the fact that Christopher Norris trying to make moves all on his lonesome.
That is Christopher Norris trying to make something happen, but that's the problem, is you try to make it happen, and if he had maybe someone to go with him, yeah, they probably would work. His look right here, he's going to get stuck in the middle right here. That's going to be Justin T. Campbell on the door right there, the 43 also right below him. Can they keep this together as Christopher Norris trying to make the middle work and kind of just root these drivers up out the way?
Oh, and in front of them, almost trouble as you're seeing drivers backing off. There's the clip. What a save by the 77.
Wow.
Reimer, what a save for himself. And that all started ahead of this group as Nicholas Renner was just shoving the 00 into the front pack and almost caused a wreck further up in the field. And the accordion effect, everyone's trying to back off just in case a wreck happened. Put some drivers in awkward positions, but again, massive saves all around. We continue to stay clean and green as more drivers blinking in and out. That's going to be the 30 machine of Ryan Kelly with a huge blink out. We're starting to see some more drivers saying it's my time to shine as 3-watt action starting to mount up more and more as we enter closer and closer to 20 laps to go.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot more of that action now. Thompson, he's going to jump up there. Rich Thomas and lead the line at the 37. That allows Vince Sor to get here to the back bumper of the 27 of Jared Talmadge. And look at this. We have got it 3 by 3 from most of the rows deep, and everybody trying to get into the mix here late in the going.
You're going to be seeing the driver bounce to the outside. That is going to be seen as we get racing. That is Samuel Garcia in the 85 trying to make his move forward, trying to work with Thomas in the 37. Speed has been shown by the 37. He is a great pusher and now showing he's got the speed to be a leader. The only problem is that outside wall is just creeping out to you each and every lap. If we're 3-watt for too long, this can get out of trouble, but let's go 3-watt up front as Jackson Anderson doesn't want the middle groove anymore. It's going to be seen Larry Yingling, Jared Talmadge, as well as Jackson Anderson. 3-watt for a moment for the lead, and big bumps, big wiggles, and Zach, can we hold on? Coming up to 20 laps to go. The middle groove is where the damage could happen if someone snaps loose here on the entry of turn 1, as it's Talmadge leading the way with 20 to go.
What's Talmadge going to do? He's going to drop low. I felt like he had to make a decision at some point. They were so far ahead of the field right there. They had to make a decision either to stay to the middle or just go outside and inside here. He decides to go inside with Larry Yingling. We'll see how this affects that bottom lane. Can the 67 push strong enough? And will the 15 get the help from behind that he needs? And that's going to be the 80 of Justin Sipes in that middle lane, the second car.
As we're getting close to the end of this race, drivers are putting everything on the line, and you saw there that last lap, 01, Eric Hrolick going to be grabbing your hot lap designs, hottest, fastest lap of the race. What a time to grab it here. 20 to go, about to be 19. As Vincent Sora having the 80 machinist Sipes on his back bumper. Driver is going to be bobbing and weaving. Where can they find the speed? And Jackson Anderson, I think he might have learned that outside lane, yes, they can build up a massive run, but you do not want to be sitting there. He lost this from being the leader all the way now back, almost outside of the top 10 in a blink of an eye.
That was very quick how fast they've kind of dropped back, but we'll see if they have any resurgence. Will someone jump up in front of them and give them the opportunity to have a little bit more cars up there? But it looks like the outside line kind of deteriorating. One drops out. Looks like the other, Samuel Garcia, dropping farther back, but they did have another jump out as now the 08 side drafting the side of the 80. He's going to pull alongside him, but the outside line looks like people undecided on whether they want to go up there or not.
I was a little nervous for the leader of Talmadge. He looked like he was hesitating on if he wanted to be in front of his teammate or, his former teammate, or drop down low in front of Yingling. Was able to fall down into that inside groove. No trouble going to be shown, but it's Thomas, that 37, just wooing and doing all of the work to get the 08 at least up to battle for third, almost the lead position. that third group, watch out. Third driver in line, that's Nicholas Renner, Danny Cochran, almost using each other through 1 and 2. Here's another massive run on the outside as Jackson Anderson went from almost outside of the top 10 to now your newest leader up front.
That he is. We talked about that outside line 9. Look at the numbers they're starting to form up there now. And that's what they need. If you have the help, the line will go. And that is what we're seeing here right now late into this race as they're going to come by this time. Looks like Vincent Sora going to be ahead at the line this time with 17 to go here, Sam. I'm telling you what, this is where it's like rush hour traffic, man. You get stuck, you get bottled in, and you just hope your line can go something forward and people drop out and you go forward. It's kind of a conveyor belt of racing.
And drivers got to be careful. We're seeing on the entry and center of the corner where a lot of drivers are backing off early because of these massive checkups. It is causing big openings for drivers to drop low or move high. Those aggressive, quick moves could cause calamity if drivers are not careful. As well as trying to be careful, there's a lap car that will stay low, out of the way for the field as everyone drives on and by. That was Chris Stitz that lets the field go on by as they once again exit at a turn number 4. Still 3 wide. Gonna be at least 2 rows up front as we're seeing the driver. It's gonna be Anderson as well as Thomas somehow keeping it together. I'm giving huge kudos to the 37. I don't know how he still has the engine temps to just keep this away, battling up front instead of our top 10 for this long. Caution is out. Trouble in the back as the drivers are just scattering throughout 1 and 2, still wrecking hard as a massive wreck just careens from 25th on back.
Wow, Fonseca there. I think he went rolling on his roof at one point in the 24. That was a huge hit. I saw, one car just careen across track. Yeah, look at Fonseca's damage after that. That car is driving in what he would think is a straight line, but that is not a straight line.
That is what we like to call a crab walk, because drivers are completely yawed out in the wrong direction. As 4 drivers, going to be 3, with required damage. Aaron Kralik, Travis Downing, as well as Malik Kuntz. And you could probably add Ollie Fonseca to that list very quickly, as we're going to see here drivers entering turn 1. And they were getting very frantic on, we need to make moves now if you want to be in position to battle for the lead or a good finish. And it just goes up and wrong so quickly.
Oh, and it was just a checkup on that outside line. So I don't know exactly what happened there farther ahead, but you can see, Fonseca just getting carried by the 33 of Malik Kuntz. And at that point, when you see the bottom side of a race car, that's when you know something's going wrong.
Yeah, and a lot of that flip really got enhanced with the neck code of the 33 and the 24 being inside of one another. That's the fun of internet racing. Sometimes you get those goofy moments as we're right on board. And you get a sense of what it's like for the 24. If you get car sick, you get a motion sickness, you might want to turn away, as this is what the 24 saw in front of them. Just trying to follow this Navy machine forward. Where is the space? Backing up, backing up, backing up. Oh no, and we're away.
It just happens that fast. That checkup, and Fonseca just on board. Nothing he could have done there. Ollie is just a passenger for a ride, and it's going to end a night of, I think, just suffering from this man. He felt like he got caught up in every little thing that could happen in the mix of this race, and Fonseca going to definitely be out of it. I think a few others joined them too with the damage they received.
As already have left the server was Thomas Green earlier in this race. Aaron Kralik has called it a night for himself. You saw the 43 of Travis Downing that has a blown engine after that contact in the outside wall. Cody Smith involved with it as well. And expecting to see a couple of drivers calling it a night here early before the race is over. And Zach, for this field, we're closing in to 10 laps to go. It's only going to get more intense. It's only going to get more aggressive. And the field knows that this is, maybe if you're further on back, your final time to get tires, fuel. But most likely everyone's going to stay in position because they know track position is king so far this evening.
That it is. It really has shown so far. You can pass. You definitely can. There's some big runs you can generate. But in my opinion, at Daytona, when you get these races, it becomes 3 wide in those last 10 to 15 laps. And from there, you're at kind of the mercy of just picking the right lane. You're hoping that people maybe jump out, you go forward, and you kind of cycle forward to that lead, so to say. I think somebody I was watching do a really good job of that actually was the 02 of Danny Cochran. He was really far back, mired in the middle line, and kind of just waited there, let people jump out. Next thing you know, he was about the third, fourth car in that line. So it just shows you that it can really take sometimes patience to get the passes done here, and then sometimes it's just picking and choosing the right lane with the aggression. So here late, you're going to see some big moves, and I think from the beginning, from really pretty much the second and the third lap after the green flag drops and the momentum gets there, that third line is going to have to be utilized because somebody's jumping out at some point to try to make up some track position.
As drivers get ready for the choose. High, low, where do you want to go? Find the position that can get you far enough ahead to work with one another or find some teammates. That black seam is your cutoff line. You gotta have your full car on either side, and that will decide if you're high or low on this restart. A lot of drivers gonna be going to the outside groove. Reason why? That is usually what you'd call the passing lane. Gives you option to go to the third groove or stay on the outside momentum. But Zach, that inside lane is kind of your safety valve. And I know for some drivers, even this late in a race, they will always pick the inside.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Sam. I think some drivers, like you said, it's kind of like a safety net of, okay, I want to be on the bottom just because I feel like not only is it sometimes the safest spot when wrecks happen because you have that exit to the left of the stage, but also it seems like the bottom does get rolling a little bit better early in the run because of the momentum building, the shorter distance around the track. It just always seems to be the better spot. So not surprised to see that. And also you got 3 guys who've been teammates before lining up on that inside row. So it's possible that we could see some past teammate working together here.
I want to say thank you to everyone that is already liked the stream, those that have subscribed already. Those are just watching along with us on our first race of the season, the inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League presented by Lariat Productions. We love it if you would hit that subscribe button, but if you also want to show support and say, hey, we're loving this racing action, we're loving the broadcast, remember to hit that like button. We're so thankful to everyone that's decided to join in and watch on tonight's race. Just got an update from Ryan Quick, spotter of Joshua Stovall. Stovall is pretty much done. Too much damage. You hate to see that for the one. He's still out there on track, but feels like he's going to limp his way for the rest of this race. If you're just joining us, we've had ourselves 6 cautions so far, and we've had a lot of lead changes, 29 in total, and we'll see if how many more lead changes we'll have left. Is this going to be 12 laps to go when we go green? This might be one of your last times to share this race before it's over, as the Trinity Racing League, presented by Lariat Productions, is back underway. The Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine the Pittie and Blazing Fast TV, back underway as Jared Talmadge leads the charge. And you talked about former teammates in line. It's the bottom 3 that are just trying to push Talmadge as far ahead as possible.
That they are. Those 3 really hooked up right here in this outside lane. Kind of separated right now, Larry. That third car not able to stay right to the back bumper of the 80 of Justin Sipes. Let's see how this develops down the back straightaway. Sipes moves out on them as it's going to kind of just separate as Vincent goes for it on the outside.
Sora goes high, Sipes goes low, and they just swap around. Who's going to be the new pusher? Sora wants to get some more clean air on that front bumper. A cloud covers over tonight's race. That's why it got so dark so quickly. The cloud coverage might be able to cool off the temps, but I don't think it's going to cool off the driver's rage, as we are seeing drivers making some big moves all around that outside groove. Who's going to work with Christopher Norris, who once again is the lone driver trying to make that third lane work, and no one wants to work with him. Ollie Fonseca is still crab-legging his way around, though.
Yeah, that that one. Oh, the wrecking!
Oh no, the big one! It strikes! Massive wreck! Everyone piling in! And it's a game over for some as the field scatters around, and now they go back across the field. More drivers trying to woe up. Others fan out. And it's the big one coming up to 10 laps to go. And Zach, drivers are furious over the radio.
Oh man, that was wild. What even played out here? I was so going from the 24 coming off of pit road here. I don't know if that threw them off.
It's going to be seeing the 67 of Larry Yingling gets clipped by Thomas. And that is what just unleashes the madness. And no driver, some drivers slowing down, others not. And just making the wreck worse. I mean, it's so hard to slow down. For some drivers, there's nowhere to go. As we do a ride along with Larry Yingling, as he will just get tapped and away he takes off. I mean, just following the driver in line, and it's just one bad bump behind him that sends him around.
Yeah, that's just tough for him. It's, nothing really the 67 could do there, as getting a little tap from the 37 behind, and man, oh man, the destruction that just came out of all of that was wild to see. And guess who all makes it through it? Danny Cochran, Jarrett Talmadge, Vincent Sora, those three on the bottom. It seemed like choosing that bottom lane was maybe the right decision, Sam, because I think a lot of guys that started on that top side, they are donezo.
As more drivers with required damage, it's going to be Tyler Horn, Richard Thomas, Jacob Morris, and Larry Yingling require damage for themselves. I think for Ollie is, oh my goodness, what a vicious contact for Horn there in the 28 machine. You see drivers scattering to the inside, even those further on back running into one another. But for Ollie Fonseca, I believe because we're doing the choose rule, race control of Nick Crawford is able to turn off black flags, clearing all the black flags, and it actually takes away the required damage flag, and some drivers are able to just keep on racing if that flag's removed for them. So it's an interesting moment. That's why the 24 was able to continue racing, I believe.
Yeah, that is very interesting. We'll see if Pack catches him. That is definitely, I think, going to be the concern. Maybe he'll keep it on the apron all the way around. But yeah, if this could get interesting. That car, I mean, he's literally smoking the tires. Still. The tires are just smoking as he goes along, and he's actually, I think, getting the lucky dog from this latest wreck too. So just note that as he goes by.
You know what? There's our lucky cod of the race with 9 laps to go. Go, Ollie, go. He is burning it down. I don't think the tires are going to last.
That's what I'm saying, Sam.
I don't think the tires are going to last for this whole run. You might have to pit before this race is over to make it all the way around, but Ollie is still able to drive. You know what's more crazy is the fact that he's probably able to still hit minimum speed even going this slow. That's why he's still able to be out there.
He's got the wheel all the way upside down, too. This is driving right here.
Wheel is completely upside down, and that's how he's able to stay straight. You know what? Trinity Racing League, this is your inaugural race. This is your moment. Ollie shining here early.
Oh, he's definitely the lucky cod. That's for sure. That is the lucky cod of the night for sure.
Oh my goodness. What a wild moment. Well, let's get back to the racing action on who's going to be a challenger to win this race. Ollie is currently 2 laps down, so he's kind of not a factor to really worry about unless the whole entire field implodes here, which there's a chance. But first, we got to choose. Where do you want to go? And for Jarrett Talmadge, Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, they could do the same play. They can all line up, but is that what you want to do? That is not the case. Talmadge, you're not on the team anymore, so you will be left on your own on the inside.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. That Cochran, I think, and Sora, they're gonna work together with each other probably all the way up till that white flag. So I'm not surprised to see them kind of leave out their teammate or older teammate of Jarrett Talmadge, but they're not teammates in this league, so you gotta think about that as Fonseca catches up to the field. But it is going to be 7 to go, Sam, when we get back here, and this is going to be 7 chaotic laps, man. This is going to be wild scenes. Someone's wrecking under pacing.
What in the world is going on? Ryan Bird, Dakota Moniz looking back at here, and it was Ryan Bird. As drivers were checking up, Dakota Moniz just wasn't paying attention and ran over the 49.
He just scooped him up like it was a Gen 4. That was very interesting.
You're coming with me, bud. We're going this way as those drivers run into one another. Awkward moments as their teammates in other leagues that they run. So not the best thing for Ryan Bird and Dakota Moniz that have both been having their struggles here this evening. Ryan Bird, though, not going to be a fan of that as he was inside of the top 20. Had already gotten that damage repaired and now got the reset. Ollie Fonseca, though, he will restart up front. Most likely they should EOL him, but they're not going to. But he's on the outside as the leaders up front get ready to get rolling. Once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us. We appreciate all those that are watching, all those that have been chatting. We know this race isn't over. We have overtime if it is needed. But first, let's see if we can finish this race under regulation. Pace car's about to pull off. This is probably your last time to share. We love it if you can get as many eyes on the Trinity Racing League as possible. The inaugural race for the inaugural season is about to conclude. Pace car is off into the restart zone. The Daytona 250 is back underway. And what a launch for the 27 of Jared Talmadge. He's expected to move high and get in front of the 15 of Vincent Sora. Not going to be the case. He stays low. And it's going to be Colton Jordan that was not able to keep up pace. But there's the move and there's the pass. Sora to the inside.
So with the big move, look at Cochran. He slides down in front of the 83 of Colton Jordan and gets his way up in the second. So this is a big move being made. Oh man, I don't know how they're all going to get through this.
No idea, and drivers further in the back are all still over the radio, scattering on where do you want to go. There's so many damaged vehicles scattered in between this field that drivers are trying to get slotted in the right position, but also with these major checkups in the entry of the corner, it's kind of spooking drivers on where is the optimal line. Up front, though, it's the teammates. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran going to be in line with one another. The Cooper Steel racing team trying to make their way go forward as quickly as possible. Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora trying their best to make sure that they're the team that wins the end of this thing. But Jared Talmadge, no give up. That 27, we've seen him get into victory lane in the WSSR this past Wednesday at Talladega. Could he get it done here on Monday in the Trinity Racing League?
That he could. It's very well been a very good little super speedway racer for the past few years, and he's definitely been able to put himself in position. But you can see even farther back, they're kind of scattering back there trying to catch up to this front pack because they want an opportunity. So I think if an incident comes, it's going to come up here, but definitely big moments all around right now on this racetrack.
Absolutely, but it's all the drivers that are inside of our top 16 that are up to speed at trying to find an opening to go for a pass. One of those drivers, though, that's at the tail end of this lead pack, Cody Reed. He is caught up. That 88, a pole sitter, trying to move forward. Ryan Bird gets the fastest lap so far here tonight as he's going for that hot lap designs fastest lap bonus point. Even with getting wrecked under pacing, the 49's got speed, but he's again stuck in that second group. Where can he go for now? With 5 laps to go, they're still bobbing and weaving in this lead pack. It's Vincent Sora leading the charge. Danny Cochran's going to be the leader on the outside. And watch out as well, the 87, Gary Wells, where did he come from? We haven't talked about him practically all day long. The 87 is now throwing his name into the hat for a chance to win here tonight.
Wow, what a scene here. New names popping up here with only 5 laps to go. As we just click down the 4 now as Daytona, always known for a show of a finish. I think we're about on board for one right now.
And if you've never watched sim racing, there's always a chance to change the rules up from real life NASCAR. Real life NASCAR, you cannot pass underneath that double yellow line. Well, here for the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry Art Productions, that yellow line is optional. You can pass under it, but you have to merge back up in the racing surface as cleanly as you can. If you cause a wreck, you'll be penalized next race. And drivers know this win is so critical. We could see someone drive down to the apron and steal the win here late as the top runners continue to battle back and forth across the line. It's 3 laps to go here at Daytona.
That it is, and Cody Reed there thought for a moment he wanted to go to the outside of Jared Talmadge, get to there with Isaac Shelley in that 98, but just couldn't get out into the cleanness of that move. But I think that 88, he's going to be willing to make a big move here coming down to the end. 3 to go down the backstretch. He's
got to find the spacing, though. Where can you go to get yourself on the outside groove? Got to be seeing one driver go down to the apron. That's going to be the 87 of Wells. Wells trying to get back up in line. He will find the spacing. Luckily, good help, but Justin Thornick does not want to throw away a chance to work with some of these drivers. But that third lane is moving. It's Ryan Kelly. It's also going to be Shelley. Where can you go, and can you find an ally and a friend to work with you? Well, it's the driver that got wrecked under pacing, Ryan Bird. Fastest lap of the day goes to the 49, and he's trying to close in on the gap on the outside, but it's the teammates that continue to rip up front. Inside, middle, it's Danny Cochran and Vincent Sora with 2 laps to go.
Who is going to pull it off? Cochran made the move to go low there so they can lead both lanes. Will he jump up in front of his teammate? Now he will, and this is going to be needed help here from Vincent Sora, but the caution's out.
And it's in that second pack. You see the driver scattering on coming out of turn number 2, and we're heading to overtime.
3 wide racing leading to a big incident here, Sam. And I think this is all started right around the 10 of Ferraro as they head down here in 1. You're going to see he's that first car in the middle there. On the outside of him, a few other cars, and he's just going to come up a little too far. And I think from there, going to actually be the bump to the rear end that actually ends it all from the 08.
Just absolutely ricocheting around. Mark Labertone, Jackson Anderson, and a few others going to be out of this thing. And Mark Labertone, too many incident points. The 44 going to be our first disqualification of the season. He is out of this race and removed for having too many incident points.
They'll quickly add up for you here, and definitely got to watch out for those for sure if you're having an eventful race like we've seen here from a few at Daytona. As Cochran here just continuing on a little bit past the pace car, and we'll see if he'll get slowed down here for this pacing.
Yeah, this was a talking point during the duels. I talked with Joshua Kanata and trying to finalize, hey, what moves can drivers make if they wanted to save fuel in interesting ways. He said as long as he's on the track and a racing surface, he can do as much as he wants to try to save fuel, and it looks like this is a fuel-saving move. Drive far enough ahead of the lead pace car, and then drop back, and you're not losing your position. So it's working out for the O2. He might also drop down to the apron. That could be another strategy of trying to shorten the distance to save fuel. Main reason why some of these drivers, they have been out there on 36 laps of out there. We were given the number of 42 laps is the number on fuel, and everyone's trying to clutch up to save as much fuel as possible as Danny Cochran moves to the top. And now bobbing and weaving as the lights are still on. We are not going this time by, but trying to fake out on which lane he wants to be in to see where Jordan might place himself as well.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out. The choose is going to be, I think, very interesting. I'm sure that whatever Cochran does here, you're probably going to see the likes of Vincent Sora go with him. But the question is, will Colton Jordan cover that off? You could kind of separate the teammates if you did that. But at the same time, you would put maybe Vince Sora in the front row with him where they be able to control those two lanes, and kind of sometimes can be even more of an issue when you have teammates that are side by side than it is lined up. So we'll get to see what the choose does here, but this is the beauty of it, Sam. These drivers have the decision to put their faith in which lane they think will push them forward to a win here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time seeing overtime in iRacing, well, it is very simple. These drivers were given 3 attempts if needed. First 2 attempts, it is based off of if we get a caution on our first lap. Drivers will be given 2 laps to go when we go green. If we get caution under our first lap when we go green, that will send us into our second overtime attempt. If we complete the first lap and we go into the final lap, otherwise known as the white flag, this race will conclude underneath the checkered. That will be the only flag that will be thrown. No yellow flag can be thrown on a white flag unless we are in our 3rd stage, which this race could end under yellow. Zach, a lot of drivers know overtime, if you're inside of the top 10, you feel like you have a chance. If you're everyone else in the back, your fate is based off of if the front runners wreck or not. This is when you're crossing your fingers, you're praying to the racing gods, and you're hoping for the best as the choose is on. A lose-lose moment for Colton Jordan. Doesn't really matter where you go. Vincent Sora is going to probably do the opposite, and it's going to put you in a rough spot. As high, low, where does the O2 want to go? He'll go high. Jordan goes low. Sora goes high, and the teammates are in line.
Very, very interesting. And I think also they're going to have Talmadge now line up on the outside in the 27. So we'll see that trio back together. We'll see the 83, the 87, and the 98, Isaac Shelley, the first 3 on the bottom there. So definitely interesting decisions. And Cochran kind of playing a little bit of games of, I'm going to choose low. Nope, I'm choosing high.
And looking at all the drivers that are still out there on track, 30 drivers are still running currently. Everyone from 31st on back sits in pit road or has left the server or has been disqualified. Mark Labertone was disqualified, and everyone from Ryan Ferraro on back still sits in pit road. Jackson Anderson, Richard Thomas, Aaron Krolick, and Thomas Green have all left the server and have called it a night early. Overtime for the drivers that are up front. Top 29 are on the lead lap. Christopher Norris just beating out the pace car there, so he didn't go a lap down. And Chris Stitz just banking on the fact that he needs a couple of more wrecks to gain maybe a few more positions. And if we get go to overtime attempt number 3, and he's not involved in any of the wrecks, and no one else is a lap down ahead of him. He could get all those laps back and have a chance to gain more positions. Zach, it's going to be the first race of the season. It's Colton Jordan and Danny Cochran, the front runners. Is there anyone else up there that you might be saying has a chance so far here tonight? It is certainly an evening of who knows who's going to be there at the end of this race. Everyone on the lead lap still has a chance if a big one happens. Again, if a caution flag comes out under this first lap, we will go to overtime attempt number 2. If we take the white flag, this race is official, and it's all about who crosses the line first that's on the lead lap. It's time to crown our first winner of the Trinity Racing League, the inaugural season, the inaugural race. It's the Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine, the Pittie, and Blazing Fast TV. Trouble on the inside. Miss shit for the 83. It's all power moving forward on the outside as immediately Danny Cochran, Vincent Sword, Jared Talmadge are your top 3 heading into turn number 1. And Zach already calamity for the back half of the field as they're trying to get rolling. They're wrecking. This race stays green for now. No, it doesn't. Caution flag is out. We're going over time attempt number 2.
Oh, man. And yeah, I tell you what, the top 3 are probably actually liking the yellow there. I mean, they might have wanted to stay green, but there would have been some big runs coming from behind with how separated everybody was with that inside lane. I mean, the 83 there just did not get going. He stays in 4th, luckily for himself, but man, that just stacked everybody up.
Everyone just piling in further on back. Bizarre moments all around as it started with the 86. That's gonna be Nolan Hicks. He got himself bounced around. Then the 7 of Cody Smith, he went for a ride. It was just everyone checking up on top of one another heading into this corner. You'll see here on this replay just already drivers 3 wide trying to find moments where they can go, and tries to move high, but Reimer's already there, and then everyone else starts piling in behind where the 7 goes spinning, and that's what brings out our caution.
Yeah, and that was just like you said, everybody checking up, the accordion effect, just everything coming together. As you can see here, the 7 car Cody Smith coming back up on the lane after qualifying his way into the LCQ tonight here. Gonna end in a little bit of smoke, but gonna have another opportunity here with another green-white checker. But you can see again, just so much checking up everybody. The flames coming out of the tailpipes, that tells you they're lifting. Oh, you see just people were lifting, but others weren't. And yeah, it's just gonna be an incident that happens at accordions just backwards through the field.
Some drivers further on back that were just trying to survive to make it to the end and to take on even more damage. Christopher Norris taking more damage. See, there's Smith. Also, Justin Campbell. I know Ethan Smith was very irritated over the radio, being involved with that wreck. Luckily, they're all still on the lead lap, but Ethan Smith, Nolan Hicks, they're going to be dealing with some more damage repair. As up front, we get ready for overtime attempt number 2. Overtime attempt number 2 is just like overtime attempt number 1. Where once we go green, it's going to be a green-white checker. 2 laps to go. If we get a caution under that first lap, we will head into overtime attempt number 3. But if we take the white flag, this race will conclude and be official. I mean, honestly, Zach, I'm not surprised that we find ourselves here in a race where we're into overtime, especially on the fact that we stayed so patient for so long, but all the cautions we knew we're going to ramp up here late.
Yeah, we kind of expected this, you know. when push came to shove, the shoves were going to come out for sure, and we've seen that be the case. But right now, you know, Danny Cochran, he's concerned with how much he's doing off the racing service here, trying to save fuel. I don't know if they're that close, or it's just, you know, maybe just playing the dramatics.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drivers currently that are currently on this lap, on lap 41 on fuel and tires. That was the last time they went into pit road, was 41 laps ago. We were given the number of 42 laps was the total that you could go. Now, we've had plenty of cautions in between to kind of help with this fuel mileage, but obviously if we go into a third attempt, that's when you're even more concerned, but you're still concerned even for this go around on will you have fuel and have you saved over 3 to 4 extra laps that were necessary compared to what the limit was if we stayed clean and green.
Yeah, and a lot of that depends on too. Were you leading? Were you pushing? Or were you leading the line? The fuel can be dramatically different when it comes to these plate tracks. When it comes to others, I mean, you could be looking at teammates such as Cochran or Vincent Soro. One of them could have almost a gallon more just from the drafting differences they did. One was lifting more, one was pushing harder. It really all comes down to that. And yeah, this, like you said, Sam, it is right on the edge of the window. I mean, 42 laps is what we got word of coming in here tonight. They would be doing 42 laps right here. Yes, the caution laps do help, but if we were to extend this race out another, 5, 6, or 5 laps or so from what it already is going to be, they could definitely be running into some issues. And look at this. The choose, they're putting Cochran down low and they're putting the other two up top, which of course aren't teammates, but yeah. lead both lanes, I guess, here is the big thing.
Lead both lanes. Also for Cochran, he can take off sooner and move up into that outside group much better. And with the takeoff we saw the last time by the 83, it kind of makes it to where, hey, if that 83 doesn't go, we're still going to have that major gap. Here are the 10 drivers, though, of question of can they make it on fuel, because they've now entered into what we like to call the no man zone of we don't know if they're good or not. That's going to be the 02 of Danny Cochran, the 15 of Vincent Sora, as well as going to be the 83 of Colton Jordan. Jarrett Talmadge going to be our top 4. Gary Wells is good, but it's Jesse Thornock, Isaac Shelley, Ryan Kelly, Mason Cassidy, Cody Reed, and Samuel Garcia going to be the drivers that are all right now have ran 42 laps on this set of tires and fuel. We'll see how well they can take off and go on this restart, but drivers that are inside of our top 12, Nicholas Renner ran as well, going to be Gary Wells. They're solid on fuel. They can go immediately, and they know they can make it to the end. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a journey. It's been a fun one. This is our second attempt of potentially 3 overtime attempts, and we will have ourselves a green-white checkered, or just 2 laps to go here when we go green. If we take the white flag and complete this first lap without bringing out a caution, this race will go official and it will end. If we get a caution under this first lap, this race will go into attempt number 3. It's time to find out who is winning the first race of the season for the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran going to be your teammates up front in this front row. Well, what does Colton Jordan have? What is Jarrett Talmadge going to do? Pace car is off. Overtime attempt number 2 is underway as the Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine and Pittie and Blazing Fast TV, is back underway. It's Cochran, it's Sora, as we roar down into turn number 1.
Side by side between these two, we thought maybe he would look to jump up in front of him. Maybe there is more concerns on the 0 or the 02 on not making no fuel. So he said, you know what, guys, I want to go leave my own lane so I don't take you out when I do run out fuel. But look up the middle. Here we go. People squeezing through. That's Isaac Shelley.
Isaac Shelley not going to be waiting for any time. He knows it is go, go, go. Immediately, he's going to be the 98 on the middle, but they're starting to stall out. Outside groove. That's Jesse Thornock in the 14 with Ryan Kelly following him. Cody Reed going to be the 3rd driver on the outside trying to make a move. We continue to stay clean and green for now. Off the exit of turn 4. Oh, Thornock trying to hold on. A little bit of a bad bump, but we stay 3 wide. We look up to the flag stand. It's going to be your Morecast white flag. It's 1 more lap to go as Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, and Jesse Thornock are your top 3 into turn 1.
Who's going to make it back here to take the checker flag? It's going to be anybody's game. It was a dead heat almost across the line last time. It was only 0.02 of a second separating our top 3. Let's see what it is this last time as they go down the back straight for the final time here tonight.
Vincent Sora going to be having help, currently leading the charge in the middle groove. Danny Cochran going to be on the inside. Another big surge on the middle groove, but here comes Jesse Thornock. Shelley's going to bump Cody Reed on the outside wall. Ryan Kelly's got to get to linked up with the 14. Bad bump for the 14. Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, they look good. Who's going to drive down to the apron? Vincent Sora blocks once. He blocks twice. They're still wiggling back and forth, but it's Vincent Sora winning the Daytona 250 here tonight as it's calamity. It's carnage. It's the big one across the line.
Wow, what flair there to finish it off. Vincent Sora, oh man, the 18 just driving through somebody, but Vincent Sora pulling it off, and Jarrett Talmadge able to bring 2nd, and Jesse Thornock bringing home a 3rd place finish after Cochran went there sliding across the line to finish 4th.
All around drivers slipping and sliding, and it's Vincent Sora in that Soar performance machine, getting the teammates, the alliances all around. Just bad bumps, not able to find a way to get by Vincent Sora, but instead, your inaugural winner for race 1 of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Lariat Productions, goes to the 15 of Vincent Sora. Congratulations, enjoy this one. Zach, what a way to start out a league there.
That is a great way to start it out for the 15. We know he's probably going to be a strong contender, one of the favorites coming into this thing from what we've seen through his performance all in the other leagues. But the win at Daytona, you know, this has got to be a special one, especially the first win here at Trinity. That is always something you want to do, is pull off an inaugural win.
I mean, we saw him win the inaugural one. We saw him help his teammate win the inaugural one during the ISRC's first race at Daytona. In the 15, able to grab a win early in his career here for the Trinity Racing League. Well, as Vincent Sora continues to have his fun, we will step away. When we come back, we have the post-race show. We're going to be talking to our top 3, Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, Jesse Thorduck, and a spotlight driver to get their thoughts on tonight's race. What a wild one. They're late, but once again, congratulations to Vincent Sora on winning the Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine and Pittie at the Blazing Fast TV. We'll be back right after this incredible run. We'll have the post-race show in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Lariat Productions. What a race, the inaugural one of the Trinity Racing League start. It was a blast to watch from top to bottom. At the end of the day, it was the driver that we've seen success in every league that he enters. Vincent Sora, victory lane for that 15, and I mean, it doesn't really matter. You might change the name, might change the car. The driver is still quick, and he gets it done here for the Daytona 250. We've got Vincent Sora with us. Vinny, I mean, winning is just in your blood. How was it getting the win in the inaugural one of the Trinity Racing League?
Dude, I'm pumped up right now, man. I have just horrid luck on super speedways, but I had a really good feeling about tonight. Um, I texted Danny earlier. We were having a conversation. I picked him to win. He had great speed all week, or the last 2 weeks since the clash. But I don't know. Tonight, after I got in the car and got to the front finally, I was just like, man, I can really control the lanes and do what I want. I was able to side draft guys really well and defend the way I wanted to and the way I need to on these super speedways. And yeah, I mean, it just all lined out there at the end. I got to give a big shout out already to Jarrett and Danny. They did a great job there. Really appreciate them for all the help throughout the entire race, and especially coming down to it there at the end. I hate to see Danny get turned around, but I'm glad he still got a P4 and a top 5 to show for it. But yeah, I mean, finally one of these things ended up going my way.
Definitely an awesome finish there to you guys, Vinny. That was classic Daytona inaugural races right there for sure. We talked about it, Sam and I up here in the booth, about how the car is so different from really what we've come from on Monday nights with the trucks and the next gen cars we see on Wednesday nights. I mean, take us through the differences here in this Xfinity car and how you were able to exploit them.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are very different. I think, honestly, they show most of the difference here on a super speedway. They drive so much differently than anything else. They lose the back end of the car pretty early. It feels like the percentage doesn't go down that much, but you can definitely feel it more than any other car here, and you have to be smart and make the right moves. And, just really calculate everything, and I think that's where these races they play to my strengths. I feel like I'm really usually smart with the moves that I make, and I try to wait for the perfect time, and yeah, I mean, I think these cars throughout the season are going to be a lot of fun to adapt to. They're definitely the car that I have the least amount of experience in. I've never done a league with them. I don't really do the Xfinity cars and officials, so I'm excited to get this one out of the way and the monkey off my back to get the win. And now I can kind of just, enjoy the rest of the regular season here. I'm not really sure how the points format is, but it's good to start on top, and I got the halfway bonus points, so. Tonight was definitely a lot of a learning thing for me, and I think the rest of the season is as well, but I'm excited to get into it.
I mean, Vinny, we saw a lot of movement here tonight. Drivers trying to place themselves in the right spot to make moves. They're late. I mean, when you were coming out of turn number 4, coming up to the white flag, it was 3 wide. Then it started to just dwindle down, seeing those competition drivers fade away. What was it like looking in your mirror and kind of seeing everyone fade away, and then it was just you in line with Danny, and you just had to do a one-on-one. I mean, you and Jared, trying to defend that 27.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely nerve-wracking. The outside finally got a really, really good run there. I don't know if it was just like the short run type of thing where we're all bunched up and side drafting each other, that they were able to get a bunch of momentum. I couldn't really tell how many cars they had packed up on the top there, but I saw Jesse on my door, and I was like, man, this is going to be tough because the right rear gets hung so well. That's where you can really pack air on someone's spoiler. And I thought that might have been it for me if I got stuck in the middle. But I got a great run. I side drafted Danny out of 2, and I saw that he got kind of detached from the car behind me. And I was just watching my mirror those entire 2 laps. And I was like, I know Jarrett's probably getting hot because these things overheat really fast. So I was like, I need to get down to the bottom because the bottom gets such a run through the corner that by the time we get out, the top probably won't have anything. I'll just need to worry about Danny. And I was able to do that. I just cleared Danny enough to cut down in front of him. Then out of 4, I didn't know if he was going to just commit to me or try to make a move. And he tried to make a couple, and I don't blame him, but I was able to just block him perfectly. And I knew after like the second block that it was just my run to the finish, and I was pumping my fists up in the air and celebrating early. So yeah, it was super awesome to get one done here finally on a super speedway, and I hope there's more to come.
It was amazing to watch, Vinny. Well, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, definitely just everybody in the league. I mean, they got this thing started probably not even like 2 months ago now. They came up with the idea for it after ISRC shut doors, and they've done a great job with it so far. I think the idea of the duels and everything they've done and this quote-unquote speed weeks has been really awesome to be a part of. So shout out to the admins that make this possible. Shout out to you guys at Freaky Fast, and then shout out to all my teammates, Danny, Thomas Green, and Jacob Morris.
Well, that'll be your first victor of the season and in the league of the Trinity Racing League presented by Larry R Productions. the 15 of Vincent Sora. Vinny, enjoy this one, and good luck next week at Legacy Atlanta.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
As we move on from victory lane, we go down to second place to a driver that we've seen a lot of success recently here in all the races that we watch here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's Jarrett Talmadge. Jarrett, you come away second, and you were trying to help as much as you could with Vinny as well as Danny. What was it like from your point of view, though, coming to those final laps and trying to get the win there late?
It was a tough point of view, to be honest, because I kind of felt I was boxed in because I knew Vinny and Danny weren't going to really work with me because we're not teammates in this league, and they were going to work with each other. And then the third lane, for the first time all night, actually got working. So I just kind of got boxed in, and just at that point, you got to resort to pushing the person in front of you. So gave Vinny a good push. He was able to get clear and win, and they just kind of threw some blocks, and we ended up second.
Definitely still a good job pulling off second, Jarrett. You always seem to be one of those drivers right in the mix when it comes to this. I asked Vinny about this because we've seen the transition from Monday night from the trucks now here to the Xfinity cars. Also, you race Wednesday nights with the next gen cars. Such a different draft package when it comes to these cars, when it comes to pushing. How are you able to adapt to that throughout the night?
I do not run the B car at all, ever, but it is my favorite draft package. I usually do maybe one or two whenever the officials roll around. So it is definitely one of the better ones. I think it's kind of lends more towards skill about where you put yourself. So it's a good one for people who like to have patience and not force a lot of moves. And I think usually you see those type of people end up at the front at the end of the races.
I mean, Jared, like Zach said, I mean, we're changed now to the B car. When you look at the schedule, especially the upcoming ones, you got Legacy Atlanta, Homestead, Iowa. Those are the next three on the list on the schedule. Are there any other tracks, or is it one of those three that you kind of have circled up as I can't wait to race this car on that track?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't, like I said, I don't really race the B car, so I don't really know how they drive. Probably the only track on the schedule that I'd have that thought is just Michigan because it's my home race, and it's always good to get a win there. But other than that, I mean, I feel like I guess we'll see how the speed comes, but I think we could win at any track. Gotten a lot faster recently on most stuff. I think we led the most laps tonight, so I'm sure the wins will start pouring in.
I would not be surprised. Jarrett, before we let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Everybody who runs the league. Shout out to my teammates, Aaron, Dakota, and Ryan. I know they all had really tough nights with Aaron Internet and Ryan and Aaron getting wrecked out. So hopefully we can all bounce back next week as a team and get better finishes.
Well, we can't wait to see how you race out there on track. Jarrett, congratulations on second, and good luck next week at Hot Atlanta.
Thank you.
As we move along from second place, we go down to third to the driver that at one moment they're late. We thought if he got a good push, he could have been a threat to steal it at the line, but didn't get the push that he wanted, but still comes away with a top three. It's Jesse Thornock. And Jesse, it's been a while. Congratulations on a top three, and what a way to start your Trinity Racing League career.
Hey guys, yeah. Hey, good to be here. Yeah, that was a good run. I was watching the replay there. I was like, hey, I might have led that white flag lap. I don't know, but that was pretty close. Yeah, just kind of got a little loose there. I think on 4, on the final lap after a push, and kind of fell back, but we were almost there.
Yeah, definitely we're almost there, Jesse. We saw you make the move to get out to the top 3 wide. I mean, take us through it when you were almost, like you said, like pretty much y'all were neck and neck 3 by 3 there coming to the white flag. I mean, what's going through your mind at that point on how to get back here first?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I every time I've gone to the top line in this race, I was just getting too high and getting into the wall. So I was a little bit nervous to go 3 wide, but I knew I had Vinny down there in the middle, and I believe Danny was on the bottom. So I knew those guys were going to hold their line. So I was able to kind of actually crowd the middle a little bit to stay off the wall and keep the momentum up there. And I mean, it was, I guess I was close on the white flag, so I was pretty confident it was going to work out if we just got the right pushes. But yeah, I mean, third is awesome. You know, just it's good to make it to the checkered flag at these tracks. So happy to be up there and have a good finish early in the season.
I mean, Jesse, it's always nice to have you up in the booth after an incredible run for yourself. With looking at the schedule, at least the next 3 tracks that are ahead of us, we got Legacy Atlanta, Homestead, Iowa. How are you feeling about these upcoming tracks, and how are you feeling about us driving in the B car, the Xfinity car, here for the Trinity Racing League?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about the Xfinity car. I was definitely voting for it and suggesting it. I've just run a lot of truck leagues, and the previous league that we ran here had, we ran trucks and all that. So it was nice to get into a different car. I've actually run a lot of the B car in the open, so which is not a whole lot, but if that's the car I primarily run, so I'm pretty comfortable in it. We got some good tracks coming up. I do like Atlanta, a great tire saving track, especially with those stages this year. We are going to be able to hopefully have some long runs, save some tire, and have a good run there, and then we'll just go from there.
Well, Jesse, again, it's awesome to talk to you. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, so on a new team this year, racing the Team Watson. So Ethan and Sam, new teammates this year. So it's cool to work with those guys here on the Speedway. It's kind of first time ever working with those guys. So getting to go right at it and do some Speedway racing, that was pretty fun. And just happy to be here. Thanks to my wife, kids, let me do this. And you guys here presenting and broadcasting for us, and the admins and everybody. So it's good to be back.
Well, Jesse, thank you for giving us such a great show there at the end. Congratulations on third. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Atlanta.
I appreciate you guys.
As we move from our third place finisher, we're going to go drop down to 5th, where we've talked to a driver that for us is new. Get to see what this 83 of Colin Jordan has for us. Colin, your day started a little bit earlier than others. You first had to qualify your way in with the LCQ before this race started here tonight. You've qualified in as one of the fastest drivers from the LCQ. What was it like trying to qualify your in and then getting into the race here tonight?
Yes, sir. Me and my team worked on some strategies to try and get me into this, and it definitely worked because I was the fastest out of the however many.
It was definitely a good job, first off, getting into the race. But once you got in, you were a huge factor there, Colton. I mean, coming up 5th, upside down after a few hundred feet after the line. But take us through, because you guys were right up in the mix. You had your teammate Jesse right there with you, too. Also, you guys were working really well. So how did the race play out for y'all?
Yeah, plan was just to try and get up to Jesse and Mason Cassidy, to just work together, have plans, strategies, whatever, until Mason got caught up into something, and then me and Jesse just worked from the way on until like lap 80-ish, and that wreck happened with Jesse. So Mason was up to like 10th, and I just couldn't do anything without those 3 teammates, Danny and Vincent, and yeah, I was just cooked.
Colin, again, you're a new driver for us up here in Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I looked up all the new guys that we haven't really seen that we've been able to cover in the past, and looking you up, you're a driver who probably has the most diverse skill of different vehicles you're willing to drive. I know we heard you were doing some dirt racing even before the LCQ. How do you feel like being able to race on dirt, doing oval racing is going to help you out for this season, for the inaugural season of the Trinity Racing League?
Yeah, when I first started iRacing, I really wanted to do a oval, but my friends wanted me to do dirt, and I just got really good at dirt. So then, yeah, but right now, nothing's really happening. There's no big races, and I'm just trying to race some asphalt. And I'm not like too bad at asphalt, but I'm not good like some of these drivers are.
Well, I'm excited to see. I know with a lot of these drivers, they're all going to be learning this B car, and I'm excited to see how well you perform a great start as you are our biggest mover of the race. Congratulations on taking the Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race, up 36 spots from where you started. Congratulations also on qualifying your way in with LCQ earlier today. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yes, sir. I would like to thank y'all for putting this broadcast up. The people who put the race up, like the league and whatnot. I'd like to thank Jesse Newsom and Mason Cassidy for giving me a shot to run with their Viagra cars. Another sponsor, Viagra, to get us going. I'd like to thank Big Jill Tire Solutions, Justin's Big Forehead, and yeah.
Well, that will be the 83 machine of Colton Jordan coming away with a top 5 to start his season off. Colton, congratulations on that run, and good luck next week at Legacy Atlanta.
Thank you.
Well, that will finish out our interviews here tonight. Getting to see a wide range of the top 2 drivers we've seen on Wednesday nights, the previous Monday night ISRC Truck Series, and now here in Trinity, Vincent Soar, Jared Talmadge, quick as ever. But as we take a look at our unofficial results, some new names popping up here late in our second attempt at overtime. The Daytona 250 presented by Sunshine, the Pittie and Blazing Fast TV. It's going to be Vincent Soar, Jared Talmadge 1-2 with Jesse Thornock. Man, it's great to see the 14 get a good finish, as I know he had his woes early on in tonight's race, but clutched up at the end for top 3. Danny Cochran, who was up there, went for a pass for the lead, didn't work out. He'll come away 4th. Colton Jordan going to come away as our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover in 5th, up 36 spots from where he qualified, with Ryan Kelly, Isaac Shelley, Michael Miller, Samuel Garcia, and Mason Cassidy finishing off our top 10. But I mean, Zach, a new season, and I know for some of these drivers we've seen in other leagues, but it's great to see them moving up and down and already giving us a great show just on race 1.
No doubt. It's been really a pleasure to call this tonight, and you look at the rest of the order. Some tough nights for a few drivers, but I think a lot of them will be looking forward to next week at Atlanta and just trying to bounce back, because 43 drivers every week, it's going to be hectic here to start the season out. I can't wait to see what the pecking order is like when we get there.
Yeah, next week is going to be a fun one. You do not want to miss it. Legacy Atlanta going to be our next broadcast that we have for the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. Also, we've got other great racing action throughout the week. We've got ourselves a Wednesday night. Drivers continue to race on with the WSSR Cup Series. Zach, I know for the WSSR VRS Cup Series, it's been hectic, it's been wild, but it gets even more dramatic as the playoffs start up this Wednesday.
Yeah, they kick off this Wednesday, and I cannot wait to see how that's all going to shape out. I'm part of it, so hopefully my season can continue rolling the way it's been going these past few weeks and get a little bit better. But it is definitely a situation right now that I think it's going to be an interesting race. Indianapolis, hard to pass. You're going to see a lot of things on the line, and also it's a crown jewel race with a trophy on the line, so it's going to be a lot on the stakes.
We also want to say thank you to the major sponsors of the Trinity Racing League. First and foremost, the title sponsor that's joining up top. That's Larry Art Productions. Again, check out Larry Art Productions on YouTube. We also want to say thank you to our pole sitter sponsor, Blazing Fast TV. Go check out Blazing Fast TV on Twitch and YouTube for great content from Dakota Moniz. We also want to say thank you to our grid sponsor, Orchid Ink Tattoo Studios. Go check them out on Instagram to see the wide range of ways that they can give you some great artwork. We also want to say thank you to our halfway point sponsor of SG_Racing, where you can go check out the racing point of view of Samuel Garcia on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. Our fastest lap sponsor going to be the Hot Lap Designs, white flag sponsor, Morecast, and of course our Lucky Dog Pass, otherwise known as the Lucky Cod Pass. Thank you so much to Cody Reed for sponsoring that. Zach, any final words before we call it an evening here tonight?
Well, it's been a pleasure not only to watch this action, the whole forming of the league. Just shout out to Josh, Nick, all the guys who helped make happen. It's really, really cool to see the Monday night tradition continue on, and I'm glad to be a part of it here, calling with you guys. And I can't wait for Atlanta, man. I really can't wait to see these cars race in a mile and a half.
What a journey it has been from the NAISCC days to the ISRC Truck Series, and let's call it a Trinity, as we are now starting a brand new legacy with the Trinity Racing League here tonight. First race is in the books, and Vincent Sora, in his second attempt at overtime, takes the victory for the Daytona 250, presented by Sunshine, the Pittie, and Blazing Fast TV. Congratulations to the 15 and to the rest of the league. Congratulations on making it into a new league, a new season, and it just gets even more difficult. Legacy Atlanta, Hotlanta next week for the second race of the season of the Trinity Racing League, presented by Larry Art Productions. But if you cannot wait until next week for more racing action, don't worry, it ramps up even more. Jared Talmadge and all of Nightmare Fuel have gotten victories. Who can try to stop the team? Who can be the driver to crown themselves a champion? The journey begins this Wednesday for the WSSR VRS Cup Series. We'll see you then for the start of the playoffs in our next Freaky Fast broadcast. But before we call it an evening for sure, we want to say thank you to all of you joining with us here tonight. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Robert Moyer Jr., as well as Zach Hall. We cannot wait to see you guys next week for more broadcasting. And for everyone else here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much. We will see you Wednesday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast. We'll see you then.